helicopter in South Carolina.
Play with that fearlessness, to play with that passion in how we play Notre Dame football.
I never want to see the end.
Kyron Williams in for the touchdown.
We just can't start, baby.
It's blocked. Big man touchdown for Notre Dame. Helicopter up into the air. They go full reach for the pylon. They go
Caught in a
And Scarana, 73-yard sack. Recovered by Notre Dame.
Let's take our game to another step.
Touchdown. Here we go to overtime. Sacked again. And the Irish have knocked off #1 Clemson.
We all can see where it can go.
Dalen Hayes bounces on the ball.
Just like that.
With the flick of the wrist.
Hey, that's not enough.
The destination for us is a championship.
I never want to see the end.
And they go for 10-0 and completing a perfect regular season here at home against the Syracuse Orange. On this afternoon, for many of the guys, it's the last time that they play like a champion today's side, as they have so many times on the way out. Down the steps of the locker room, into the tunnel. And for many guys, 5 years worth of work. One last time on this field for the final time this year. Here come the Irish. Here's Brian Kelly, 101 victories as the Notre Dame coach, 4 behind Knute Rockne's all-time record. Ian Book said the only personal record that matters to him, the one he gets with a win today, 30th as the Notre Dame starting quarterback. 29 wins, 3 other quarterbacks. In Notre Dame history, he becomes the 4th. At the northeast corner of the stadium, the Orange come down the steps. Only 4 FBS schools have played more games in college football history, but it's only the 4th trip all time to South Bend for the Orange.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go all day, baby, all day.
And the Orange take the field here in South Bend. Only win over Georgia Tech, and that came in week 3 of the season. It's the poorest of the 5 seasons for Dino Babers as head coach. A couple of years removed from a 10-win season. They tried to avoid a 10-loss season today. Down to the sideline, here's Catherine Tappan with Brian Kelly. KT.
Thanks, Mike. Coach, considering the 2020 football season has been hanging in the balance of a global pandemic, the Irish enter the month of December with a perfect record, and you're playing in the ACC championship game. What has been most memorable for you this season?
Well, I just think the resolve of our football team, the way they've answered the bell each and every week, you know, having to go through testing and the protocols and really, you know, obviously all the things that go with that, you know, changing the lifestyle on a day-to-day basis of an 18 to 21-year-old is very difficult. And they've done it, and they've played really good football, so really proud of them.
With a win today, Ian Book will become the all-time winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. From a 5th-string backup coach to rewriting the record books here in South Bend, what is it about Ian that enables him to have this success?
You know, I think perseverance, whatever words you can think of. I just think confidence in himself and his belief that he can, in fact, do it. And, you know, he's led our football team to opportunities that we've never had here in a long time. And so on the backs of Ian Book, we've put ourselves in a position where we can have another undefeated season. So we're going to watch him go out there and lead us again today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate your time. Well, Ian's parents, Rick and Kim, are here today with Ian's brother, Nolan. Rick and Kim travel from El Dorado Hills, California, to every home and away game of their son's career. Rick told me, we never expected our son to be breaking Notre Dame records, but Ian has exceeded everyone's expectations, including ours. They are proud parents. Rick told me this day is nostalgic for us as well, but it's been so much fun to follow Ian throughout this journey. Mike?
Catherine, thanks. I bet those sunglasses that just came off, there's going to be a tear or two behind those for Kim as the day goes on. With the Super Bowl winner, the Hall of Fame coach, Tony Dungy. You've seen every pass, every play of Ian Book this year. What has jumped out as you've watched him really put himself in record-setting contention this season?
Well, Coach Kelly said leader, and I'm going to give you a name, Joe Montana. Okay, I played with Joe a year in San Francisco, and Ian Book reminds me of that. A guy who you just believe is going to make the plays to win win the game for you when it's necessary. Here against Clemson, we need a score, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. Make the first down, run out of bounds. Now, off schedule, move out of the pocket, get that throw to tie the game up. And then against North Carolina last week, when it's tight, again, moving out of the pocket, underhanded flip, whatever it takes to win the game. In the biggest moments, I can make the plays, and this is what his team believes in. Ian Book.
That comes from a guy who saw Joe before he was Joe Montana, the Hall of Famer and pro football legend. You also saw Rex Culpepper, the Syracuse quarterback from early on. So what do you have for him?
I actually saw Rex the day he was born. His dad, Brad, was my nose tackle at Tampa on those great Tampa defenses. Rex was born during training camp, and the word to describe him is warrior. Torn ACL as a senior in high school. Testicular cancer at Syracuse. He has fought his way to the starting quarterback. He's starting against the #2 team in the country today. Unbelievable story.
Great opportunity for him. Orange won the toss, deferred the option to the second half, so Notre Dame gets it first, and Nolan Cooney kicked it to Chris Tyree, who's tackled just shy of the 20-yard line as this one gets underway. Jeff Canton-Arku with the tackle for Syracuse. So we mentioned Ian Book a whole bunch. Kyron Williams has a chance to become a 1,000-yard rusher this year. Skoranek, the grad transfer, and McKinley have emerged in this receiving corps. Up front's been a changeable cast because of injuries, so a different starter at center for the third straight game. Josh Lugg, who started at guard last week, moves to center, and Dylan Gibbons comes in for his first Notre Dame start. Lugg will send it back to Ian Book from the 20. And Book's first pass is complete. A gain of 6. McNamara, the tight end, on that far side for the Irish. So we mentioned those numbers with Ian Book in the obvious conversation about the 30 wins. He told us yesterday he hopes to get a chance to take it all in at some point today, this last home game. The stats we know have improved, the plays improved, but also he's kind of fought through that uncertainty the first part of the season, Tony, and become a much more confident quarterback in the last half.
Yeah, and you see just the decision making that looks so great in the second half of the year.
After a gain of 7, here is Williams back behind the line. He'll lose 2 as Kingsley Jonathan was in there for Syracuse, the senior from Baltimore, to make a stand. This Orange D has played well despite little support on the offensive side. All seniors here starting up front. And those are very few of the seniors who you see on this team. Everybody else is young. Mikel Jones, 6 takeaways, tied for the lead in the nation. The Syracuse team is tied for the lead in the entire FBS with 22 takeaways. With all those freshmen in the back end, Ife Melifonwu is a very good corner. He's the experienced one. Tony White, you saw, the defensive coordinator. 3rd and 4, out quick to Avery Davis. Will get the first down and more as Davis comes out to the 40-yard line. More of a role in this passing offense for the senior Davis with his 20th catch of the season right there.
And this is something that Notre Dame wanted to do, get the ball out of Ian Book's hands quickly early on. They're going to see a lot of blitzing from Syracuse. Great play against the blitz, the screen. Avery Davis behind his blockers. But this Syracuse defense, they're going to try to create confusion with this 3-5-3 alignment.
On the 40 and on, first down, play action for Book. An up top shot down the middle of the field for Wilkins. It's broken up by Garrett Williams, the redshirt freshman back there in coverage. These Syracuse corners are in man often. They'll be challenged. Williams up to that early task.
Yes, Notre Dame loads up with their tight ends. Man coverage on the outside. Garrett Williams, a nice roll there and stays after it. Just gets the ball out. But Notre Dame trying to take a shot early to these wide receivers.
Joe Wilkins has 7 catches. 4 of them came in the opener against Duke. The run for Kyron Williams. He'll gain about 3 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down. Jahad Carter, who led the Orange in tackles with 13 in the home loss to North Carolina State last week up in Syracuse.
And we're going to see this kind of unusual defense, 3-5-3. You're going to see a lot of similar type bodies, secondary linebacker type bodies, moving around back there and trying to confuse Ian Book, not show where they're going to be, where the blitzes are going to come from.
Get into the whys of that defense, how it's become more part of college football. and the variability it can give you, whether it's 3-3-5 or 3-5-3, you can make it look different things. Bringing pressure on Book. The crosser is Skoranek. First down, Ben Skoranek down the sideline, out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Gain of 30 for Skoranek.
We had good protection there, but this is a crossing route. Ben Skoranek, you're going to see him come from the right side all the way across. His man gets picked off. And just a lot of traffic to fight through. Again, well-designed play by Notre Dame, just taking advantage of the quick throw. A lot of traffic for that defense to get through.
Bothered by hamstring injuries early on. Skoranek has poured it on here lately. 5 of those 6 touchdowns coming in 2 games. Book out of the backfield. Nice catch and good quick hands by Tyree. The freshman will be brought down at the 23-yard line. Pickup of about 8. Jeff Canton-Arku, sophomore from Canada, in on the tackle.
And I love Ian Book's patience right now. It's patient, but it's quick. Quick decision making. Blitzes are coming from everywhere. He's not holding the ball, seeing things well, and getting rid of it, making good decisions.
It's kind of the look of somebody who's got it figured out, isn't it?
He does.
Yeah.
He really does.
I love it. 6 on that one for Tyree. It's back to Skoranek, getting some blocks from those tight ends on the edge. And he'll get a first down inside the 15. Take it down to the 12-yard line. Nice to have those big tight ends to lead the way when you have a bunch on that side.
Yeah, we're going to see tight end Brock right here just come out and be the lead blocker. This is just a wide sweep play, and he stays after it. Good feet there, staying on it, but they've got Ian Book getting rid of the ball quick early, which I like.
Good looking opening drive for the Irish in the red zone. Williams, great change of direction, so quick, so sudden. Gets him inside the 10. He's down to the 7-yard line. Lee Koba makes the tackle for the Orange.
And again, I think Tommy Rees has really called a good opening series here, because the one time he wanted to go deep, he loaded up with his tight ends, went play action, made sure he was blocked. Everything else has been quick, get rid of it so that blitz doesn't get there, and let his playmakers run after the catch.
It was buried in his play sheet in case he needs a third and short down there. Tommy Rees, former Irish quarterback, what a job he's done. First year as the OC. From the 7, 5 in the pattern. Book's got nowhere to go, scrambles and throws. It's incomplete. Jaws couldn't get enough steam on it to get to Kyron Williams, who found himself lost in the back of the end zone. We'll have a third down coming up now.
This is some of the inexperience we see in that secondary for Syracuse. Again, someone getting lost. Kyron Williams wide open through the traffic. No one with him, unfortunately, slipped and wasn't able to make the catch.
Irish lined up quick. 4 eligibles to the right side of the formation, the wide side, and the great tight end Michael Mayer to the boundary. Book looking, throwing, corner of the end zone. No, McKinley cannot bring it in. Broken up in the back of the end zone, and so it'll be a field goal opportunity. The Irish drive down the field, but the Orange break it up, and it's 4th down.
And this is Javon McKinley in the slot. Nice corner route, but that's good patience.
And a good play by Rob Hanna.
Yes, by Rob Hanna, just staying patient. McKinley, though, I know he feels like I got to make that catch.
Field goal attempt coming. Jonathan Dorr from 25. 13 of 18 on the season. And comfortably knocks it through. So a very good drive by Notre Dame, but Syracuse with some good late hands by defensive backs stop the big plays. The Irish score 3.
Some see a grilled cheese sandwich.
You buy 2 because it's footlong season.
Notre Dame football is brought to you by Subway. It's footlong season. By U.S. Bank, helping pursue your passions. By Salesforce, we bring companies and customers together. And by State Farm, like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. We're glad you are wherever you are enjoying Notre Dame football all season with us. And thanks to you around the country who sent hashtag ND roll call pictures of your favorite Irish fans, young and old. And we have some young ones here today. It is staff and faculty only here at Notre Dame Stadium, in addition to player, guests, and parents. No students on campus, so we missed a little bit of the soundtrack of South Bend. Fair caught by the Orange and Nakeem Johnson. So the Orange will take over at the 25. And Rex Culpepper, the senior quarterback from Plant High School. And as soon as the conversation ends, Rex will bring out the Orange offense. All right, everybody's all settled, going back to where they belong. There is Rex Culpepper. So March of 2018, Rex Culpepper was returning to Syracuse after a vacation overseas. Noticed one of his testicles was swollen, found out it was testicular cancer, and had to undergo chemotherapy and treatment at Moffitt Cancer Center, one of the best cancer hospitals in our country, down in Tampa, Florida. Came back at the end of spring ball, was a part of that, and eventually found his way back to being a backup quarterback for Syracuse. And because of injuries to Tommy DeVito earlier in the season, he has become the starter. He went back to the bench a little bit. Now he's coming back to start what may be his final game in college football. Throws a shot right there. It's complete. And a gain to the 39 of 14 yards for the first down. A hot shot. Culpepper threw it to Taj Harris for the grab. And Culpepper, when he can get the ball out on time, did show last week against NC State a good accurate arm. Inside run there, not going to go very far for the Orange and Sean Tucker.
And Mike, I think this is what we're going to see a lot today. Quick rhythm passing and quick tempo of the offense going. This is how Syracuse likes to play.
Syracuse struggles to run the ball. The Irish defense excellent against the run. Quickly to Harris one more time. Who gets to the 46-yard line. Good gain there. Sets up 3rd and short. Nick McLeod with the tackle for the Irish. This is Syracuse offense that's only scored 17.5 a game this year.
And that is a quick sidearm throw. Get the ball out of your hands and throw it accurately. This is what they're going to have to do today.
And Syracuse gains yardage on first down. They get into their tempo. It's out of the backfield, and a nice catch to Sean Tucker for the first down into Irish territory at the 45. Just the 7th reception for Tucker this year.
And Coach Dino Babers said we're going to see this quick passing game. Get it out of your hands quick. Stay on rhythm. Notre Dame's going to have to try to throw that rhythm off.
45, getting into the hands of Harris on the reverse. Culpepper out there leading the way. Got a little bump on Olusi Koromoa to allow Harris to get down to the 40-yard line. So a 5-yard pickup, a first down. It was 2nd and 5. Tony, you get the sense Syracuse playing with the energy of, this is our last game. This is like our bowl game. Let it out. Let it go. Do your best.
No question about it. This is the national championship game for Syracuse. You're playing on the road, #2 team in the country, national TV. Haven't had a great year, but this can be the difference maker for you.
See the numbers of the NC State game. Culpepper quick release through the hands of Anthony Quealy, the sophomore from Orlando, Florida. It'll bring up 3rd down. And the Irish will get their 3rd down defensive personnel in there.
And again, this is going to be a little adjustment for Notre Dame. These balls are coming out fast. They're coming out quick. Notre Dame saw this on tape. But again, just getting used to the speed of these throws, that's going to be an adjustment.
You see those numbers for Notre Dame. This 3rd down has been terrific for them this year. Culpepper fires incomplete. It was too high and hot for Luke Benson, and it'll bring up 4th down from the 41. We'll see what the Orange decide to do. Dino Babers.
I know he's thinking over there. I've got to go for some of these if I'm going to beat the #2 team in the country, but do I play field position here? And it looks like they're going to play the field position. They've got a great special teams unit, and I think his thing is let's pin them down inside the 10, make them go the long distance.
Matt Salerno goes back to take the Nolan Cooney punt. Drops the nose down. They get to spin, force Salerno to catch it back at the 5. All net, 36 yards on the kick, halfway through the opening frame here in South Bend. Booking the Irish up a field goal.
2 seconds left to play.
Chiefs on NBC. Want to stay up to date? Just tell Siri, show me college football rankings.
Alabama 1, Notre Dame 2. look at the campus here at South Bend. Quiet campus, too. Students are gone, so just the football team and the other student athletes around right now. Ian Book has had such a great run. This has really felt like home, trying to get a 15th win, go undefeated at home through his career. Carry for Kyron Williams to the left, just a yard there. Not much going on. It'll be second down as Michael Jones makes another play.
That outside zone, Notre Dame staple play, but Syracuse using their speed, and that's one thing this unit is. They're extremely fast to the football.
It's like an NFL game here. All the communication gets so quiet. 2nd and 8. Book throws. It's complete. Michael Mayer will cross and get the first down over the tackle of Hannah, out of bounds across the 25 to the 28-yard line. He looks so comfortable after the catch.
3 tight end package. Make it look like run, but they come out. You've got skilled receivers here. A little pick route, not necessarily a pick, but it does get picked off, and you get the ball in the hands of a really good athlete who can run after the catch.
Second on this team in receptions. Couple today, 27 on the season for Michael Mayer from Independence, Kentucky. There's Braden Lindsay in the lineup, and he gets tagged as he tries to get back towards the line of scrimmage. Again, it is Jones, the top tackler for the Orange, with another hit.
Coach Kelly told us Braden Lindsay, great speed, has been banged up a little bit. They wanted to get him back in the lineup, get him some touches early. But I'm telling you, I'm impressed with this Syracuse defense, the way they run. They are going sideline to sideline.
Lindsay just 6 catches. That was his 4th rush on the year. Good blitz pickup as per usual by Williams as Book escapes. He gets out of bounds around the 33-yard line to set up 3rd and short. It's the story of the Kyron Williams tale, not just the yards, but the pickups.
And Mike, this is what I love about him, and he knew there's a lot of blitzes coming from different ways. I've got to scan, protect, be ready to go right or left, protect my quarterback. He's done it all year.
Marlowe waxed. Williams is so good. That Clemson game was a clinic on scan protection. 3rd and 5. Book's got it out quick. Mayer, and he got hit, taken down, so he'll be shy of the first down. Amon Greenwood, another freshman.
We'll be saying that all day, Mike.
Exactly. But it gives the Syracuse fans hopes for the future. On a bad season, it's been a terrific effort by those young players.
Play action, get it out quick. Again, thinking Michael Mayer is going to be able to break a tackle, make a first down. This is a good start for Syracuse. A red zone stop, 3-and-out stop here. Excellent.
Jay Bramlett is kicking away. Hakeem Johnson waits, 43 yards, fair catch. And the Orange will take over for their 2nd drive at the 21. 10 minutes gone by here in the opening quarter from South Bend.
We're all putting.
Well, it's senior day, and it's senior day for Mike Collins, too. 233 straight games. His voice has been the public address voice here at Notre Dame Stadium, and Mike is retiring after today. And our NBC News colleague, Ann Thompson, very proud Golden Domer, just had a wonderful tribute on the video screen during the commercial break to Mike that Mike didn't know about. He was surprised to hear it, and we said Mike our absolute best. Rex Culpepper, first down, taking a shot downfield, no receiver open. Taj Harris closest to it for Syracuse, and it's incomplete. You know, Tony, down at the tunnel here at the north end, it says, "Here come the Irish," and I've said it, Dan Hicks, Tom Hammond before me have said it on our Notre Dame broadcast, but we are all borrowing it because it is Mr. Collins who came up with that phrase, the game of the century, Notre Dame, Florida State. He said on the PA, "Here come the Irish," and that tradition has continued since then.
Turned into an iconic phrase.
It is. It's how those traditions get started. What a nice man. We wish him the best. Handoff inside for Syracuse, and the run for the guy who's really won this running back job for the Orange. Sean Tucker, the freshman from Owings Mills, Maryland. Taj Harris, you've seen his work a little bit. Hakeem Johnson, also a deep threat for Syracuse. And look, they've struggled up front. This is where this team has to get better in the long run. But I want to shout out Aaron Service from Green Bay, Wisconsin. His 48th consecutive start ever since he got on campus.
Amazing.
Starting tackle. Culpepper retreats. It's open down the sideline for Tucker. Across midfield, Tucker down the sideline. Inside the 40, and the Orange with a big third down pickup from Sean Tucker.
And this is something you don't normally see, Mike, from Notre Dame defense. They're coming with a blitz, but there's a mistake here. You're going to get pressure up the middle, but no one picks up the running back, Tucker. He releases out, blown coverage. Rarely see that from Notre Dame.
Credit to Anthony Quealy for the good block downfield. Culpepper with a pump. He's going to try to take a shot downfield towards Quealy, but Nick McLeod was all over that. Nothing happening there. Second down.
And Syracuse has come out now 2 of the 3 plays taking shots down the field. They were so effective with the quick rhythm plays in the first drive. We'll keep that going. I think they're thinking Notre Dame's going to adjust, but Notre Dame has been on top of those deep balls in this drive.
Sterling Gilbert, new offensive coordinator for Syracuse this year. He's been with Dino Babers a couple of stops before. Nothing going in the running game there as Tucker tried to shake free Riley Mills, who Notre Dame fans are going to hear a lot about over the next couple of years in that defensive interior with the tackle.
Yeah, he has come in. He's played more and more. Coach Clark Lee told us he's earned that playing time. They're looking for that force. Nice swim move inside, and that's what they feel. He can give them a long body in there, pass rush and run stopping ability inside.
Here, a field goal will be about 53 yards, and that was right at the back end of the range in pregame warm-ups. So they need some yards to try a field goal. Culpepper steps up and throws. It's complete to Taj Harris, and with a flag on the back end, ball's at the 29-yard line. Let's see what the penalty is. First one of the afternoon. Stuart Mullins is our referee. It'll be against Syracuse. Kelly's got to decide here. Do you want the 4th down? They're at the 29. Field goal from there is 47.
46-47.
And that's why Brian's going to back
Pass
him up.
interference. Offense, number 89. 15-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Aaron Hackett called for offensive pass interference.
That's a tough break. Taj Harris really did a nice job working back to the ball, putting him in position to possibly get the field goal, but here you're going to see the contact. Notre Dame defender in position, and that's a good call. Although our rules expert is kind of like, I don't know.
Terry McCauley's our rules analyst. He's in the studio.
As a defensive player, I thought it was a pretty good call.
That's where Terry would come up with materially affecting the play, and it didn't, and all that stuff. I've been listening to Terry too long. So they back him up. It's 3rd and 26 of the Orange. And Culpepper buys some time, takes a sideline shot to Harris, who caught it. Going to mark him. The Notre Dame sideline was right in front of him. They say it was bobbling. They're going to mark him at the 41-yard line. I think Syracuse will punt either way. Mark him at the 42, beg your pardon. Let's see if replay will get involved here.
Taj Harris comes back for the ball. And
yeah, it comes away from his body, so he doesn't have control of it. Then when he pins it back to his body, no body part comes down. Brian Kelly's standing with the head linesman saying, are you guys going to stop this and look at it or not? They are not. And it will be a punt. And for the second time, Cooney's pinned the Irish. 10 are in. This one will be at the 10. 45 left, opening quarter here in South Bend. 3rd drive for number 2 coming up.
Okay. I'll get the cape.
Monday and Tuesday, the final 9 artists take to The Voice stage live. Don't miss this, The Voice live Monday and Tuesday right here on NBC. Whole crew will be there. Our pal Carson Daly taking you through as we get down to the enjoyable part of the end of the season there with The Voice. Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, Catherine Tappan, Terry McCauley, our rules analyst. Jack Collinsworth will have all the highlights and scores for you at halftime. 3-0 Notre Dame on top. 3rd drive for Ian Book and the Irish. He was looking to take a shot downfield. He's pressured, and he'll be brought down and sacked by Jeff Canton-Arcu, his 3rd sack of the season. And the Syracuse defense has played very well in the opening quarter, Tony.
In this 3-3-5 defense, you get a linebacker coming off the outside, but this was a slant and go by Ben Skoranek. It's covered there by Williams. On the other side, Melifonwu has his guy, and the rush, that allowed the rush to get there.
Number 7 on the read. It's given to Kyron Williams. Bounces it to the outside. He's pulled down at the 15-yard line by Melifonwu, who is a willing tackler as a corner.
I love this young man. Just watching him on tape this week, he is a coverage player, but he will hit you. He plays the total game. He's not going to get a lot of passes thrown at him because he's really a great player, but he plays the total package. I really enjoyed watching him.
As you watch him, you watch the out-of-town scores, brought to you by Salesforce. We'll run through the top 25 and saw Ohio State. That Miami-Duke game could matter for Notre Dame's future opponent, the ACC championship game. Pass caught here by Williams, and a first down out to the 26-yard line.
Nice read by Ian Book. They tried to surprise him with a corner blitz. He saw it, read it, got it to Kyron Williams. Doesn't look like a big play, but that was just getting it there before the defense can react, before he gets hit, and he knew what was coming. They were ready for that blitz.
Irish have had the ball twice. This is their third drive. They have 19 plays and 119 yards, but only 3 points to show for it. Through 1 here in South Bend. Notre Dame 3 and Syracuse nothing. And we're back at Notre Dame Stadium in just a moment. You're watching Notre Dame football, brought to you by Subway.
Graham.
Back on the Notre Dame campus, our aerial coverage is brought to you by Geico. Pretty nice day. Temperature here in the 30s in South Bend.
You keep going with that.
Tony,
nice day.
It could have been so much colder for you. Wait a minute. I drove here this morning right past your hometown of Jackson, Michigan.
Yeah.
Where's that north warm blood in you? Fell down in Florida, huh? It's the run from about 2 yards to Kyron Williams to the 28-yard line. So, Tony, you look at the scoreboard, it's 3-0. You watch the game, Notre Dame feels like, oh, wait, they should be doing more. What's going on? What are you seeing?
Well, what we're seeing is what we talked about. This is the national championship game for Syracuse, and you can hear on their sideline when they're making plays. They're into it. They're now feeling like, hey, you know what? We're in this game. Let's go. And Notre Dame is just a little bit off on a couple of plays.
2nd and 8. Skoranek heading over in motion. Book had to move to the left to get that snap. He's moved off the spot, but he's so good in those situations. However, it's dropped here on the sideline by Skoranek, and that is what you hear, Tony. That Syracuse sideline gaining momentum with every snap.
And that is, Notre Dame normally makes this play. Ian Book recognized it. It was an overload blitz from his right. He moved to his left, did everything right, delivered the ball, and it was dropped. So just a little bit off. Now it presents a 3rd and long.
No students and no band here. Really just parents and
it really is different.
Faculty and staff. It is much quieter than it has been the other home games. 3rd and 8. Orange rush 4. Book. Nobody open. Buying time. Being chased. Book fires on the run too high for Mayer and incomplete. And a very good series again for the Orange defense will force the Irish to kick it away.
Deep crossing routes against a zone defense, and the zone did a good job of holding their points. Usually when the quarterback scrambles, that's when people come open, but you can see here they're reading the quarterback, they're staying with it, nobody open. Ian Book has to move to his left, maybe could have squeezed that in, but that's great coverage by that Syracuse secondary.
Put on some pressure here. Jay Bramlett hangs it high, so Johnson will signal for the fair catch at the 37-yard line. Orange have the best field position of the afternoon. A minute into this 2nd quarter.
Nurses premieres Monday on NBC.
Mike, let's go back to that first series that Syracuse ran. Rex Culpepper was getting rid of the ball quick. 2 seconds, throwing the ball short, decisive, and they got away from this in the 2nd series. This is what I'd like to see them get back to. This gave Notre Dame some problems. Throw that ball quick, move it down with the short passing game.
Well, that's what the Dino Babers offense was all about, and Syracuse hired him from Bowling Green. This is out a little bit less quickly than those two you showed, but off the hands of Sean Tucker. It was a tempo offense. How many plays can they run? And after a while, folks started to catch up to that, and when you don't have the protection with the offensive line, you're going to get injuries and problems, and that's why the offense is not what it once was.
And that is what has happened. I still think they need to stay with this quick rhythm passing game.
38 Culpepper keeps and then flips to Nykeem Johnson on the edge. He's tracked down from behind by Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. It's senior day. He could come back, but he's in a lot of first rounds and mock drafts. Exceptional player for the Irish.
He really is. Nykeem Johnson has speed, and he chased him down, and that's what NFL is looking for. They're looking for these open field ball players, and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is exceptional in that phase.
He's been such a key factor in how Clark Lee has schemed defenses. Here's Culpepper's third down pass complete to the wide side, and a first down for Taj Harris. All the way across the field, strong enough arm, and the Orange are back in Notre Dame territory.
Crossfield out, very decisive, getting rid of the ball quick before the rush can get there, and that throw is right on target, on the money.
That's the throw that everybody looks at. Can you make in the college game that wide throw from the near hash to the far sideline? Culpepper executes it there. Running here from the 45, and he will be brought down by Jack Kaiser after a gain of about 5. Kyle Hamilton in there as well. I see Jack Kaiser. I can't help but think about the South Florida game. One of the highlights of this season for Notre Dame. Third string because of COVID and other stuff. Hey, you're starting.
And we were scrambling. We're going through the bios. Tell us about Jack Kaiser, and he had a great game.
3.5 hours later, he got the game ball. From the 40, Anthony Quealy with this catch right near the 35. The forward progress mark is going to be just shy of a first down here.
I think Coach Babers was listening to me about getting back to that quick passing game. Notre Dame's going to have to adjust to this, but this is the formula for Syracuse. This is how they're going to win it. Looks like we're going to get a little wildcat here, Mike.
Syracuse has done that at times with Nykeem Johnson, or this time it'll be Sean Tucker. There's number 5, Chris Elmore in the game.
Keep an eye on him. He's going to take you to the ball.
Elmore goes right. He'll run up the middle as they spread out with Tucker, and he easily picks up the first down at the 29-yard line.
Now we're going to go up tempo again.
Culpepper will come back in for Syracuse. And from the 29 and on the run, he fires far side, completes to Taj Harris to the 22, a gain of 7.
And I can't tell you, Mike, how much Taj Harris reminds me of another Syracuse receiver, Marvin Harrison. Thin, slight build, just wiry, but really hand placement and a good receiver.
You said that to us this week. That was a wow to me. I think about Marvin Harrison, number 8, one of the all-time great
single-digit thin body.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You would know. You coached him 2nd and 3. Here is Tucker for 2 to the 20 as Kaiser makes the tackle. It's 3rd and 1 coming up. There's Marvin in the mid-90s, number 2 all-time on the Syracuse receiving yardage and reception list. Look at that, huh?
Nice memory.
Champions hats there, and 2 guys in the Hall of Fame with their gold jackets as well. And Marvin came out of Syracuse, like you said, that slender body type, but tough, not afraid to go get a tough catch in the middle.
Taj Harris does the same thing.
Now you see Taj runs hot. He's emotional as well. He wants to be a part of it. Wildcat again on 3rd and 1, and they'll pick it up again with Tucker as he is down at the 18-yard line. So the Orange take it to the red zone with a chance to tie or take the lead a third of the way into this one.
A really nice drive. Good rhythm, quick passing game, little sprint out, wildcat. They've kept Notre Dame off balance.
I mentioned Sterling Gilbert, who had been with Dino Babers at a couple of different stops. Syracuse had their top 2 running backs opt out this year. A lot of injuries on the offensive line. It really was a struggle to try to get settled on the offensive end. And then Tommy DeVito, the starting quarterback, injured. Culpepper out quick again, and again it's caught this time. Breaking out of the tackle is Quealy toward the goal line. Is he out of bounds first? Oh, he's in! Touchdown, Syracuse. Anthony Wheely down the sideline, out of the tackle, and the Orange go down the field and have taken the lead on number 2, Notre Dame.
Really great job by Rex Culpepper, blitzing off his left side. He read it, got it out quick, and Anthony Wheely does get in there.
Great body control, gets to the pylon, and gets in for the touchdown, his second receiving touchdown of the season. Andre Schmidt adds the extra point.
And the point after is
hold. And a surprise here in South Bend. 5 minutes into the second. Number 2 Notre Dame trailing. The Orange go down the field. Best their offense has looked pretty much all year, taking a 7-3 lead.
This year, Christmas.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
PGA Tour, Yucatan Peninsula there in Mexico. Mayakoba Classic. Final round tomorrow, 1 Eastern on NBC. Justin Thomas shot 62 today. Moved himself right in contention there with Tony Finau and the others. Emiliano Grillo leading, so that final round comes your way on NBC tomorrow. Anthony Quilly the catch. Rex Culpepper terrific on the drive. Syracuse surprising Notre Dame 7-3. See if the Irish can get going. The return by Tyree across the 20, knocked down to the 22-yard line. Catherine Tappan heading over that sideline. A lot of excited Orange special teamers.
Yeah, you got it, Mike. I spent the first part of the game over on the Notre Dame sideline, but this Syracuse sideline is hyped up. Dino Babers telling his guys he's happy with the pressure they're bringing, far more energetic, especially after that Anthony Quealy touchdown. And, you know, Garrett Williams, a freshman defensive back this week, he told me this is our Super Bowl, and you can see it on the sideline. They are very excited with this score so far, Mike.
Yeah, you can see it, you can hear it. It's chatty over there. There aren't a lot of them. Syracuse missing 27 scholarship players here. They're well down in the numbers, yet they have performed well through the end of the season. Here's the run by Kyron Williams across the 32. The 32-yard line, he's trying to bring some energy to his team.
And this is Notre Dame's lead play. Just stretch blocking, zone blocking, outside zone. Kyron Williams reading it. That's a powerful side of the line, and I think Tommy Rees may want to get to that. Let's settle things down a little bit, use our strength, go left here.
Skoranek in motion, snaps slowly back to Book. Orange covering down the field well, so he has to check it down. It'll be the first down for Kyron Williams. He'll be just shy of the 40-yard line.
You're right, Mike. That zone coverage of Syracuse is taking away some of the deeper throws, forcing Ian Book to not only hold the ball, but come down with it. And that's what he's got to do. Take what's there. Let your playmakers work for you on the short passes if you have to take them.
You mentioned Mikel Jones a couple of times, so look at that. One more time, second game in a row, 6 freshmen starting for Syracuse on that defensive side. From the 39, Book to Javon McKinley, and a good tackle after the gain of 4 by Garrett Williams, another one of those freshmen.
These two corners, they play with confidence. They'll tackle you. They're complete players, and Garrett Williams is going to be a really, really good player.
Watching the snaps from Josh Lugg playing center because the changes up front. Till a given start, Tommy Kramer has been in during this drive as he returns for the Irish up front. 2nd and 5. Here is Book. Good throw. Finds that soft spot in the zone, and McKinley takes the first down to the 42-yard line of Syracuse.
You're going to see his zone coverage, and he's going to find the soft spot. McKinley sits down there, ball right on time, right on the money. Good throw, good catch, good protection.
Book 12 of 17 thus far. Looking for the shot play, and it was covered downfield. No receiver within 20 yards. Now they're coming back to him, and it's a catch by McKinley. Great work by McKinley to be available for his quarterback, and a gain to the 37-yard line.
Great by McKinley, but also great by Ian Book. He's looking downfield. They wanted to take a deep shot here on a double move. It wasn't there, but the protection, very good. Ian Book, realizing he has time, moves out of the pocket. McKinley did come back to him.
After the gain of 6, off the hands of Lindsey and incomplete. Immediately broken up. Jeff Canton-Arku was over there for Syracuse, their number 3 tackler from Canada. Syracuse has a couple of different players on this roster from Quebec, Canada.
And this was the screen, and Garrett Williams goes around Brock Wright's block. We saw Brock make that good block on the screen earlier. Garrett Williams learned from that, beat him, and made a play on the ball.
And my apologies, Williams, the one breaking it up, not Canton-Arku, so it's 3rd and 4. Field goal from here, 53 yards. Gonna run inside with Kyron Williams, and he will be stopped. The Orange defense, and Cody Roscoe, who usually comes in pass rush situations in the 3rd and 4, got his body over there along with others, and we'll see what Brian Kelly does on 4th and short.
And they are getting a lot of guys to the football. The edge gets set there. They make Kyron Williams stutter, and here comes the posse. Just a lot of people in the frame for that Syracuse defense.
A lot to like about Tony White, the new defensive coordinator for the Orange. You're seeing it in this unit's play. Irish will go for 4th and 3. Book out quick. Mayer had it, retreats, and not going to get there.
Be close.
Because he retreated and had his own momentum going back, it's not where forward progress is, it's where he's tackled, and he will be stopped short, and the Orange come up with a 4th down stop. And Brian Kelly explained just that to Mayer. Syracuse's defense making a name in this first half.
Sign up at peacocktv.com/PL.
Looking forward to next week, another national championship. Final women's major of the year, champions in Houston, the 75th U.S. Women's Open right here on NBC. The USGA championship was held right there, not too far from here. Warren Golf Course on the Notre Dame campus, where Steve Stricker won the Senior Open last year. Orange takeover from the 34, the inside run. Only maybe a yard for Tucker. Probably not. Probably no gain. Tony, you thought Syracuse would not have a lot of rushing yards in this game.
I didn't think they would. I thought Notre Dame had such an advantage, their defensive line against the Syracuse offensive line, but Dino Babers and his staff have done a really good job of negating that with quick rhythm passing, wildcat plays. They've kept them off balance and done a really, really nice job of not letting their offensive line inexperience be a weakness.
NC State's fronts flummoxed Syracuse's run game last week. 10 rushes for 28 yards today. Culpepper fires off his back foot, incomplete. Orange sideline wanted a flag on the pass intended for Courtney Jackson, but the man was there. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah
dialing up a blitz, doesn't want Rex Culpepper to get comfortable. More defenders, the rushers, than they can pick up. He delivers the ball, and that is good coverage. That is not pass interference.
Ade Ogundeji with the pass rush. His defense trying to hype up the offense and make a play. 3rd and 10, and they do. Able to deflect the intended pass. Ovia Gofu, who has seen more snaps in this game, the junior from Lathrop Village, suburb of Detroit, with the stop. 3 and out for Syracuse.
And he got his hands up. That was one of those tunnel screens. That was going to be Taj Harris, and he had some blocking, had a little alley there, but the ball knocked down. 3 and out, just what Notre Dame needed.
And that's what a good defense can and do for you, right?
Yes, and we saw Clark Lee just change up a little bit, dialing up a couple of more blitzes, not letting Culpepper get comfortable.
Nolan Cooney for the 3rd time, kicking to Matt Salerno. First 2 punts were down inside the 10. This one trying to keep it away. Go to 28, and the Irish will take over there. Notre Dame football here on NBC, brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Together tastes better. By Jersey Mike's Subs, be a sub above. And by Lincoln. I mentioned Marvin Harrison before. You look at some of the great Hall of Famers from Syracuse's football days, including Floyd Little, friend to so many of us. Floyd has been battling cancers in hospice care. Send our best to Deborah, Floyd's wife, and all of his friends, and many Orange fans who have such great times remembering the terrific Floyd Little run here by Kyron Williams. Also Denver Broncos fans as well. Floyd, one of the all-time greats as a player and as a person as well. All right, so Notre Dame, this is possession 5. Moved it well, Tony, the first one, but not as well since.
And just the movement of this Syracuse defense, and they've brought a lot of different kind of blitzes.
And 2nd and 3, they get to Book here as Canton Arku brings him down again for the sack. So Syracuse brought 5, and Canton Arku was the one waiting for Book to step up, and he dropped him.
We saw a lot of zone coverage, but this is 5-man rush, and it's straight man-to-man coverage now. And they're locked up on these receivers. The hug-up linebacker ended up making the sack, but there was no place to go. Very, very tight coverage in that secondary.
So 3rd and 10. Book again forced to hold it. Al gets rid of it. Incomplete. Trying to get it to Kyron Williams one more time. There is a penalty flag down.
There's a flag now.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 9 defense. Blow to the face mask of the quarterback. 15-yard penalty and an automatic. First down.
That's a big penalty on Kingsley Jonathan, the senior.
That is a huge penalty because, again, that was well covered. Might have been a possible holding penalty missed there, and that is hand right in the face mask.
Penalty is in 1st and 10, Irish in the 43.
That is roughing the passer.
So moving out to the 43, it's one of the finest young men amongst the football players for Syracuse. Called for that personal foul there. Semifinals for the Campbell Trophy. Book on a boot, on a roll, and Tremble able to gather before he went out of bounds and gets a first down at the 39-yard line. Good job changing the point there by the offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees.
Yes, they started with the zone action to the left. They've been having success with that zone play, but now coming back to the right, Tommy Tremble on the deep cross, kept his feet in bounds and possessed it.
With Tremble, you thought he was going to have a breakthrough season. You saw the bobble, but then he secures it just at that last second before he stepped out of bounds. Book's got an open throw to the wide side. Javon McKinley will fight to get the first down, battling with Melifonwu, and he'll take him to the 28. The Irish with that roughing the passer penalty keep this drive alive. Late stages, 2nd quarter, trying to get back in the lead.
And good mix by Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator. Came out, run play, get the zone run, play action off it, quick passing game.
27. This escapes, and he's got a lot of room to run. Book, I should say, to the 10. Ian Book hurdling at the 5, puts his head down and scores.
And that's what he does, Mike. When you need the big play, he comes up with different ways to make them.
All kinds of room to run. And Ian Book takes it in, and the penalty costs Syracuse. Notre Dame retakes the lead.
This is another 5-man rush with man coverage. Everybody has to run with their man, and Ian Book finds the lane, and then he doesn't run out of bounds. He finishes the run.
You know he loves to do that, right? 84th total touchdown, and as you were talking about, the penalty, it's not that traditional heavy hit roughing the passer, but the hit to the face mask. The correct call, and Notre Dame takes advantage and retakes the lead as Jonathan Dorr adds the extra point. Go back to it, 3rd down. Syracuse had Notre Dame off the field. Kingsley Jonathan's hand to the face mask of Book kept the drive alive, and the feet of Book take the Irish back to the lead. 10-7 Notre Dame.
I started noticing losing my hair.
Bright House Financial, build for what's ahead.
Ian Book was part of this Notre Dame senior class that has a pretty impressive run. The Citrus Bowl win over LSU, bounced back from that 4-8 season with 10 wins, and then a 12-1 season, losing the semifinal to Clemson. Last year, 11-2, undefeated at home. That undefeated at home continues on, and then this year, 9-0. If they get a win today, it'll be 43 in a 4-year span, and that'll tie a Notre Dame record. It was really a big reset of the program. It wasn't necessarily that Ian Book was going to lead it at all. Brandon Wimbush was the quarterback, but guys like Dalen Hayes, Ade Ogundeji, and others, all a part of a culture change and a turnaround for this program that has put Notre Dame back as a regular in the top of the polls. Touchback on the kickoff by Dorp, and the Orange will take over at the 25 with 3:18 till halftime. Well, this is senior day, and Tony, we've been here for several of these. This is what it usually looks like. Packed house, parents waiting. Remember Drew Tranquil a couple of years ago, Chase Claypool last year. And if you've gone through 4 years of the program, you get to run out. So even though Ian Book pretty much knew he was coming back, he got to run last year. Mom was waiting, and that's missing here today. The seniors didn't have that moment with their parents on the field before the game. They'll be able to take pictures with Brian Kelly and family after the game coming out of the tunnel. So it's certainly different in the emotions of a normal senior day. Flag will push Syracuse back 5 here.
And Mike, full start for number 56, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Mike, for a college player, that is so special. I remember my senior day against Ohio State 43 years ago, and my mom and dad there. I remember my son's senior day, and it's special.
It really is.
Too bad they're not able to experience that.
Well, penalties.
Snap infraction, number 52, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Penalties back up Syracuse here. Penalty extended that last drive. And those are the things, after you've done all this work, that you can't let happen.
You really can't. A young football team that has played well in this first quarter and a half, and then penalty to extend a touchdown drive. Now you've got to get it back, get your poise back.
So it's 1st and 20, and they'll get 3 of it back on the ground with Sean Tucker. I had mentioned it earlier, Tony, a couple of opt-outs at the running back position. That plus injuries, having enough offensive linemen, scholarship offensive linemen to play early on. That's the reason Chris Elmore moved to left guard, the guy
from fullback.
Yeah, right. We saw back in fullback earlier. It was one of those starts to the season. Plus, Syracuse, like everybody else, only had a couple of spring practices. Trying to get 2 new coordinators on each side of the ball. So there are always reasons and excuses. And it's somewhere in between the explanation for this season. But they've continued to play hard, as you see here. Cooper Lutz, sophomore out of Reading, Pennsylvania, with a big run that gets it to 3rd and manageable.
Yes, and this is what they needed to get back to, so they can throw a quick pass, not have to hold the ball on 3rd and long. That was a big play there. Notre Dame's trying to get into their nickel defense. The tempo might catch them here.
Yeah, yep. Syracuse did sub, so they go quick, and it's incomplete. Nick McLeod saves everybody on the Irish side as that pass was broken up. We have whistles here. Were there too many players there on the field? Did Syracuse not sub when the official stepped in? Because once Syracuse subs, Notre Dame gets the right to. And Brian Kelly's over there looking at names of officials to yell to the guy on his side, say, hey.
Well, there were definitely too many men on the field. We'll have to see how this sorts out.
Illegal substitution. Defense. More than 11 players on the field. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So Syracuse was 1st and 20. Now, Brian Kelly wants to know, did Syracuse sub and have the time to sub out? We clearly had too many players on the field. At 13.
This is that tempo that Syracuse plays with. Created a first down.
That center judge gets in there and puts up the wait sign, but he was not there because Syracuse felt that they had not subbed. And then you don't have to wait for the defense to get your 3rd down personnel out. Gain of a couple for Cooper Lutz. See, they were looking for the Notre Dame side a sub. Syracuse did in fact substitute.
Yes.
There you see. And that's what they were looking for. Off the top of the screen, receiver came, the tight end came out. That's what they were trying to match. Blitz coming on Culpepper. He gets out of it. And Livesey, the ball comes out too. Picked up by Marish Leofow. And the Leofow is down to the 21-yard line. So Culpepper got away from the first hit off the pressure. And then the second contact knocks the ball out and ruled for the moment Notre Dame ball on the fumble. And another conversation ensues. This will be a big turnover for the Irish here at the end of the half.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. The play is under further review.
So they'll look to see if Culpepper was down. Does the knee come down as he's hit here by White? And Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa. Can you see enough in there when the knee's down to know if the ball is secured or not? We'll bring in
the question.
Terry McCauley.
So, Mike, we're looking to see, does the ball start to move before that right knee is down? Here's another shot of it. It's really close. I'm not sure I see enough to reverse yet. Boy, I tell you, it's got to be indisputable that the ball is not moving before that knee comes down.
Right, that's why that initial call on the field is so important.
It looks like he's got it, but I don't know that you can see enough to overturn it.
Yeah, that big hand of Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa's is on top of the ball. And at least we had a reverse camera to look in from the other side. And you look at this shot as well. Is there enough clearly there to tell exactly what happened in this situation? It was the pressure first from Owusu-Koramoah that caused Culpepper to escape the pocket when Drew White and Tagovailoa-Amosa combined to hit him and knock it out.
This may be the best look that we have.
It's so hard to see. Has the ball started to move as that knee's about to come down? And again, how important this is. With 1:38 left, the Irish are in great field position. Syracuse gets the ball to start the second half. So you're talking about that right before the half score and possession, which is so important.
But you're right, Mike. This whole thing started out with a great blitz call by Clark Lee. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah comes free. Rex Culpepper had been seeing these blitzes. He didn't see this one, and that led to all of this.
Terry, it's a really tough one, and that call on the field becomes so essential in situations like this.
Right, Mike. We've had some great looks at it, and of all the looks, I just don't see indisputable video evidence that he still has control of the football when that knee hits the ground, and that should be a stance.
All right, so we're going to look at two different angles synchronized together. So this is all stitched together as it's happening, Ter.
Yeah, I just don't see it as indisputable that the ball's not moving before the knee is down.
And it's so easy to be so critical of officials, and as you know, over the time that you did it, but that gives you an example. You got to make a call live at full speed on that, and we've spent a minute and a half looking at 4 different angles, and we still don't know the answer.
And Terry, the point is, if they had called this down on the field, it would have been tough to reverse it to a fumble.
Certainly
right?
couldn't have reversed it that way. And generally, when it takes this long to make a determination, that tells you that it's not indisputable. Right. So, and I will tell you, in my history, the longer it takes, just anecdotally, they tend to come with the wrong answer if they go too long because they start looking for something that's not there.
It's interesting. And you see the umpire out with a pen and paper. Usually indicates spotting the ball and the clock and all the stuff that goes with it. Maris Leofau had the recovery, so 4 Irish defenders a part of that. Here's the real-time look. Make a call here. One look at it. With all bodies and you're running around, it makes it challenging all the way around.
Yeah, and when you see it in real time, it looks like a fumble. You can see why the officials called it a fumble on the field.
Two of the officials have gone over to Brian Kelly to give him the indication, and I would say from body language down there, it's going to be Notre Dame ball at the 21-yard line. And that looks like
after further review, ruling on the field stands. 1st and 10, Notre Dame at the 21-yard line. The clock is correct and will start on the snap.
So the pressure, and this is both drives, Tony, the last 2 drives that Clark Lee has gone to dialing up some pressure, a 3-and-out, and a turnover.
Yeah, and that has been the adjustment that, hey, quick passing game, we're going to put some pressure on them, make them deliver the ball on time and on target.
Thank Terry for his assistance. The Irish with a great opportunity after a somewhat sleepy first 20 minutes of this half to extend the lead. From the 21, it's Book. Goes to McKinley. He's got space. And Javon McKinley. Good cut inside to the goal line and in. McKinley ruled breaking the plane and with a touchdown.
Tommy Tremble came out with the ball anyway, but I think Javon McKinley was in.
Let's see if he's in or down first, and then we'll look at the fumble part of it. See, that hand allows him to extend more and more and more, and that should be good because that hand keeps him up. And he finally breaks the plane before he loses the ball. But as you said, Tony, Tremble had a clear recovery, so the Irish go right away and are able to turn that turnover into 6 points and gain some breathing room. And Jonathan Dorr makes it 17-7. 2 quick scores for the Irish on top by 10. We're back in 30.
Wendy's Baconator. We got you.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Stadium. The Fighting Irish leading Syracuse 17-7. And you know, Syracuse University is known for graduating a number of legendary broadcasters, including Marv Albert, class of 1974, Bob Costas, Sean McDonough. He began his career at the Syracuse radio station on campus. Mike knows where we're going here. Ian Eagle, also part of this wonderful class, and our very own Mike Tirico, class of 1988. Joining us here on the broadcast and as our friend, Mike. This has got to be a fun game for you.
Yeah, I'm not speaking to any of you.
Was that your graduation picture?
It's a great video.
No, not for a second. There's a fair catch called for Johnson. I'm told I have to throw it back to you, Catherine, and I'm not going to. Okay, go ahead.
Well, Mike, you had to know it was coming. You worked at a local TV station in Syracuse for a few years, including calling Syracuse football, lacrosse, and volleyball games. Take a listen to this one.
Good afternoon. Welcome to a special edition of Sports Plus. This is Mike Tirico. We'll start at the top with #1 Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish are idle this afternoon, probably on their way to the Fiesta Bowl against West Virginia. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Great. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Did anybody ever tell you look like Muhammad Ali as a young guy?
Yes, they did,
wow.
actually.
I can't believe how much you look like your son Jordan there, Mike.
Yeah, poor kid. He'll overcome that, I hope, at some point. Anthony Quealy in the game, the 7-year on first down. I'll speak to none of you for the rest of the year. No, it's fun time to go back. And it's funny to go back, and here's Notre Dame going for the Fiesta Bowl in 1988. We're talking about that on a post-game show at Channel 5 in Syracuse. Fun times. Harris thrown to the sideline and out of bounds. It'll be a yard short. The clock will still move. Final minute of this second quarter.
Syracuse really wants to make a first down here. They need to make a first down. You don't want to give Notre Dame the ball back one more time in this half.
Exactly. Clarence Lewis, the freshman for the Irish over there in coverage. 3rd and 1. Culpepper's throw, and there you go. Nakeem Johnson can't hang on. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, if you haven't seen what he's all about, you've seen this first half, and now you know.
What a player. Blitz, makes tackles in the running game. Here he's covering their slot receiver, and Nakeem Johnson is a burner, and he's right on him. Gets a strip there. He can do everything in the secondary, just what you want. You mentioned that he probably won't be back next year. He's probably going to be in the NFL.
Yeah, those mock drafts show him anywhere from 16, 22, 23. Boy, that skill set really will adapt so well at the next level. Nolan Cooney with the kick. Salerno back for fair catch, and kick-catch interference on the Orange will move Notre Dame to the 30 with 38 seconds and 3 timeouts, so it'll make it an even easier opportunity.
And Syracuse, after playing so well for about 25 minutes, Mike, we're just seeing some of the useful mistakes.
Number 24, kicking team, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Cooper Lutz, the running back. State Farm halftime report. Jack Collinsworth standing by. Number 4 Ohio State. Pretty impressive, even though they were undermanned today. Jack will show you the pictures, take you through this 2020 season. And Tony will look at the first half and break down some of the key plays. And you talk about a team that is a big underdog and trying to stay in a game. And the things you can't do are what Syracuse has done the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, 7-3 lead and a roughing the passer penalty on a 3rd down stop. It really has opened the floodgates.
First and 10 Irish at the 32.
The Irish take over here at the 32-yard line. It's a perfect opportunity for them to work on their 1-minute offense. His Book sideline pass is complete to Michael Mayer for a limited game. Do you think Tony's had anything to do with Notre Dame and the conversation of being a heavy favorite? You're already in the ACC championship game. May have been tough for everybody to get going from the start.
I think it's just a combination of that and looking at Syracuse's record. When you see a 1-win team, sometimes as much as the coaches tell you and they talk about it, hey, these guys are better than their record, that mental letdown just shows up a little bit. But Notre Dame's starting to come out of it.
37, Book underneath. Good block downfield as Williams gets across midfield to the 49. Brian Kelly sprints down to the headlines to get a timeout called with 28 seconds till the half.
Timeout. Notre Dame, their first of the half.
Irish on the move. Up 10. And again, we're back at 30 seconds.
How about no?
No.
10-yard line. Nope. They're in the red zone with less than 2 to go.
I'm not letting any of you guys take over when we're coming back out of commercials after you got me there pretty good. This has been such a quick turnaround. These are the things that can happen when the avalanche starts.
It really has. And you look at Syracuse, they're playing so well with about 5 minutes left in this second quarter. They're up and they get a stop and they're going to get the ball back and they're ahead 7-3 and the sideline's going wild. And then now it's got a chance to be maybe 17 points here in a matter of 3 or 4 minutes. That's what can happen, though, with the talent level that Notre Dame has.
Right, you give them confidence, and they get going. Orange bring the pressure. Book pushed off the spot. Great pickup as Book fires, and the pass is incomplete. Boy, Notre Dame does such a good job. They know Book is mobile, but they give him every last second.
They do, and Tony White dials up. Blitz inside, trying to create pressure. Again, a pickup. Liam Eichenberg peeling back.
That was one of the rare ones where Kyron Williams missed.
Yes.
And Eichenberg took care of his man. Second down here for the Irish. And Book throws underneath. McKinley dropped it as Jones was set to hit him. It'll bring up 3rd down with 19 to the half.
And Notre Dame still, Mike, hasn't been as sharp as we're used to seeing them. And they started this drive out very well, got to midfield, and just has been a little sluggish right here. So need 10 yards to pick up this first down and keep the drive going.
19 seconds, 2 timeouts. Orange show pressure up the middle. They bring it, and Book on the move, throws back across the field to Skoranek. Great catch, first down, 28-yard line. What a throw on the run by Book to get the Irish in field goal range with a couple of end zone shots after this timeout.
That was a little Patrick Mahomes-ish. Running to your left, coming back, throwing to the right, across the body.
12 seconds till the half, right back in a half minute.
Rules are about to be
We're going to see Patrick Mahomes tomorrow on Sunday Night Football. Did you mention his name to me a second ago?
I did, and maybe it was just, I don't know, a Freudian slip, but Ian Book, you're going to see him come to the left, scramble out of the pocket, and then sidearm back to the right. We've seen Patrick do that a lot. This is reminiscent of it, right between the 2 ones there.
12 seconds for the Irish, end of timeout. We get a whistle, and Syracuse take timeout.
Syracuse, their first of the half. 30 seconds.
They were coming with an all-out blitz there. That was going to be straight man coverage.
Can I go back to something you said at the beginning of the game? I mean, look, you bring up Joe Montana's name, and people go, wait a minute. But you said that to me way back in August when we were watching Ian Book and get ready for the season. And again, this is not Tony saying that he is going to be Joe Montana. but you were, I didn't realize you were with Montana back in the early days.
Yes, I played with Joe his rookie year. He came in as a third-round draft choice. Nobody was thinking great things from him, you know, Hall of Fame career. But when you watched him in practice, the balls were just on target. He had that calm persona, and he made good decisions. Had a slight body, like Ian Book, not dissimilar. And after a while, you just had the confidence, and Joe can make plays for us. And I think that's what this team feels with Ian Book.
And there are certainly guys who walk in the room who are in the Elite 11, who are five-star guys, and you go, wow, this guy's going to be the next greatest thing in the history of quarterback play. And Ian Book has just continued to develop and develop. And now has the confidence to go with the athletic ability we've seen. It's been really enjoyable to watch him perform this month.
Yeah, Syracuse changed up. They were coming with an all-out blitz before. Now they're playing off coverage, and they're content. They're not going to give up a touchdown here.
Book, low snap, picked it up, takes an end zone shot, hand fighting. McKinley goes up and gets it, and it is a touchdown. 2 in a minute 24 for McKinley.
And this is good protection. One guy was in bump and run coverage. That was Melifonwu, and he's complaining about a push-off here. But I think he just slips. I think he falls, and that is a good 50-50 ball where Ian Book gave his receiver a chance to get it. Javon McKinley went up and got it.
They are both hand fighting all the way down. As Melifonwu's feet were moving so fast. Extra point added by Jonathan Dorr, and Notre Dame has scored 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes and 6 seconds to go from down 4 to up 17.
Tommy Rees told us that the difference in this last month in the Notre Dame offense has been his wide receiver group. He built the team, built the offense around the offensive line and the tight ends. He knew what he had there. He knew he had a special quarterback. But his receivers have stepped up. They've made play after play after play in this last month, and they're going to need this in the next games that they play.
21-yarder to McKinley, and then a 28-yarder there, and Ian Book up 17 here going into halftime, trying to get that 30th win of his career that we have discussed. And he would be 30-3. Can't catch Johnny Lujack in terms of the all-time highest win percentage, but has passed Tony Rice, another Notre Dame great, in terms of just the win percentage. And a lot of folks wondering, did Ian Book ever play at Notre Dame when he was recruited out of El Dorado, California? And look at those numbers. They've come up very high here at the end of that first half. So 6 seconds left. Syracuse gets the ball to start the second half, and they could have run the clock out after being down 10-7 and managed it a little differently. Instead, the turnover, they try to score again when they got it back, and now they're going to find themselves in a huge hole.
Yeah, it just really the last 5-minute avalanche, really, and you have to credit Notre Dame for extending the pressure and keeping the pressure on. A couple of untimely penalties from Syracuse, and what was a really good start has developed into a big hole.
And Sean Tucker will run it to close the half. He'll gain 5, and we get to the break. So the Irish scored 21 in a row at the end of the second quarter. And number 2 has a 17-point lead. Heading to the locker room. State Farm halftime report with Jack coming up. You're watching Notre Dame football, brought to you by Subway.
Don't leave money on the table. You're watching Notre Dame football, presented by Subway.
And here come the Irish. Kyron Williams in for the touchdown.
We just getting started, baby.
It's Brock's big man touchdown for Notre Dame. Huge helicopters up into the air.
Dug off, Book, reach for the pylon.
Ben Skoranek, 73 yards. Sack, fumbles recovered by Notre Dame.
Let's take our game to another step.
And the Irish have knocked off #1 Clemson.
We all can see where it can go.
Dalen Hayes bouncing on the ball.
Just like that. With the flick of the wrist.
Hey, that's not championship.
Half away from 10-0 for the Irish, leading 24-7, except for the third quarter here at Notre Dame Stadium. Final game of the 91st season of football here. Syracuse averages 250 a game on offense at 174. A lot of it early. The Irish pour it on late second quarter. Here's Brian Kelly's message to the team a couple of minutes ago in the locker room.
So we dominate the third quarter. Has everybody got that? Dominate the third quarter. So the fourth quarter is ours. Dominate the third quarters. Everybody got the message? So defensively, kickoff team, then defensively, offense, you get the ball back, we score. We dominate the third quarter. So let's get out there, let's get ready with the mindset to take over the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter is ours, okay? And we'll do what we want to do with it in terms of the fourth quarter. But the third, we go out and dominate it right now. All right, let's go play.
Brian Kelly's teams have dominated the second quarter, and they did again here today. They've outscored their opponents 141-35 in that second quarter. Up 17, and here's Catherine Tappan.
Well, Mike, Brian Kelly said to me at halftime, did this game start at 2:30 or 3:30? Because we thought this game started at 3:30. That lack of execution, the drop balls, the misreads. He said that's very uncharacteristic, but the turnaround came when the Irish finally executed at the level that they're supposed to. Dino Babers' message to his team at the half, we're on NBC. We've got our good friend Mike Tirico on the broadcast. This is a really good football team across the way. He liked his secondary. He said, let's see what we're going to do here in the second half, Mike.
Did you make that up?
Nope, I didn't. I promise you, those are verbatim Coach Babers. You're welcome.
That's brutal. Thanks, KT. From the 25, Rex Culpepper in the orange offense takes over. Fifth start of the season for Culpepper. Came in after Tommy DeVito got hurt. First couple of games, first four. It's Tucker for the run. He'll get a yard. Kurt Heinisch, another one of those seniors up front. Doesn't get as much credit as he should, Tony, but he comes up with a nice play.
Playing well there. And you know what this has reminded me of? How many times have we talked to Clark Lee, and he's told us about last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. He emphasizes to his defense, and Coach Kelly does to the whole team. We heard him talk about dominate the third quarter. Notre Dame got those last 4 minutes, played well. We'll see what they do in the first 4 minutes here.
Whistle here as they were trying to get to Nakeem Johnson.
Full start.
On the edge.
Number 60, offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, Clark Lee in the news a lot this week because his alma mater, Vanderbilt's making a head coaching change. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Clark took us back to when he was the Syracuse linebackers coach, 2013 through 2015. Zaire Franklin, who's a captain for the Indianapolis Colts, among the good players that he had. And Clark mentioned to us, and you look at the improvement here, it's been sensational what he's done in his 3 years after replacing Mike Elko when he went to Texas A&M to be the defensive coordinator. Clark told us those Syracuse days were very important in his career for a couple of different reasons. It's a good run here by Tucker to the left side as he goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Need 3 yards for a first down from there. So Clark said it's 2012. Staff gets fired at his last stop, and he's wondering, do I want to keep going? Do I want to subject my family to this? Do I really have the love for it? Goes to the coaches convention, ends up connecting at Syracuse, and he says there, his passion for football reconnected. Culpepper, third down, throws complete for the first down. And out of the hands of the tight end, who took a big hit. Aaron Hackett was knocked down, knocked the ball out, and Notre Dame has come up with the recovery.
And there's that defense again, making a play, forcing a turnover.
Aaron Tungo Vailoa Amosa coming up with it.
But you see where the hit is going to come from. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, just that guided missile all over the field, good hustle.
Third forced fumble for Owusu-Koramoah. Clark Lee said we need to create more turnovers. And the defensive staff gets another one there, their 13th of the season.
Can't see with the mask, but you know he's smiling under there.
Look at the 14th as the Orange turns it over earlier on the fumble by Culpepper in the second quarter, and Book loses it. It's loose, and the Orange are on it. So Syracuse gets it right back. Marlowe Wax falling on it after all the center issues that Notre Dame has been dealing with the last 3 games.
Snap recovered by the defense. First down.
So So the Irish turn it right back to the Orange. Back-to-back snaps with turnovers. Just like Syracuse keeps going. They'll have it at the 43. Sloppy center exchange, and Wax, the freshman, falls on it.
Geico makes the claims process so easy.
Transplant season finale, Tuesday, 9/8 Central on NBC.
About 30 seconds ago, Brian Kelly went to supervise Josh Lugg and Ian Book with snaps on the sideline to directly send the message. As I mentioned, Tony, third different center in as many weeks. What'd you see here?
Well, Ian's hands come out a little bit early, and the snap is just a little bit to the right.
Remember a couple of shotgun snaps that weren't on target in the first half as well. With Lugg stepping in at center, the run for Sean Tucker for Syracuse won't go very far there. Drew White with the tackle. There's the starting center for Notre Dame, Jared Patterson, who has the foot injury and is out for the rest of the season.
And as you go forward, this is something that you want to get ironed out. These are the things Brian Kelly's talking about. We've got to continue to improve and play to our standard.
Zeke Correll came in last week and was the center at North Carolina. He has a bit of an injury, and White again, so he is radar locked on 34 in orange and white. And Drew White's come up with back-to-back good plays.
And this is Clark Lee dialing up another blitz, second and long. He's going to bring Drew White right up the gut. And the timing of these blitzes has been great. And this is one thing Clark Lee is really good at. We saw the same thing last week at North Carolina. Some adjustments as the game went on, rolling into that second and third quarter that changed the tempo of the game.
3rd and 15. Notre Dame has 3 defensive ends on the field for pass rush. 7, 9, and 91. Foskey, Hayes, and Ogundeji. They rush. Culpepper steps up and throws in the middle. It's caught in traffic. 3 shy of the first down by Nykeem Johnson. We'll see what the Orange will do on 4th and 3.
This will bring up an interesting call for Dino Babers, and I think you have to go for it. You're down to the #2 team in the country. Haven't had a lot of momentum in these last 10 minutes. You've got to make something happen.
And very much in the profile of Babers over these 5 years that he's been the Syracuse head coach. A lot of 4th and 3, 4th and 4, go for it situations. Out quick. Culpepper's pass is complete. Harris lost it. Gets it back at the 40-yard line. It's a first down for Syracuse.
I started to say, Mike, we got to keep an eye on Taj Harris. He's the guy, the big play guy in these situations. Ran the slant. Rex Culpepper delivered a good ball, and Taj Harris made the play.
We can go down and ask Dino to slow the pace down a little bit so you can get in all these good points that you have.
Thinking, where's Taj Harris? Where's he lined up? He's out wide right.
I think they want to look at that one more time, make sure it was a catch. Let's see.
Bring on the field. Yep. The catch and the line to game being met is under further review.
Well, the line to game was certainly met because it was 4th and 3. And Harris was holding on there as Clarence Lewis, the freshman, was trying to pull it out. Further inspection coming. We'll be right back.
Talk to your advisor, Bright House Financial. Build for what's ahead.
To all the parents who have watched their kids play a game and just pace, Brad Culpepper.
One advantage of no fans. He doesn't get to do it today. I'll tell you what, Brad was a great player for us. Tough, smart, no question. Rex gets his toughness from his mom and dad. But how do you become a quarterback if your dad was a nose tackle?
I know, right? Well, he's also trying to stay warm. It's a Florida guy trying to stay warm here in South Bend. If you weren't with us at the start of the game, Brad, defensive lineman, played for Tony Dungy's outstanding Tampa Bay defenses. 1st and 10 from the 40. And Culpepper gives inside. Good run. He's a good running back. On the move all the way. Tucker will score. Sean Tucker with a touchdown. He has shown a natural knack of running the ball and takes it 40 yards to get Syracuse back on the board.
And this was one of those blitzes. Notre Dame is trying to bring pressure inside, and they found the seam. And their coaching staff told us that one thing Sean Tucker can do is make the first guy miss. That's what excited them about him. He's got some speed and acceleration. He started out as the number 5 tailback in practice. Opt-outs, injuries. He's starting and scoring here.
14 carries, 72 yards on the day. Andre Schmidt adds the extra point, and Tucker to the end zone for the 4th time in his freshman season. The Orange hang around 24-14, still early here in the 5th.
And now a mini meditation. Be a sub above.
Next Saturday on NBC, one of the best ones, both times it appears in the Premier League. Manchester Derby. United and City both winning today earlier on the networks of NBC. We'll have it for you 12:30 Eastern next Saturday. City 5th in the table for the moment. United in 4th. Sean Tucker. More yards than any running back against the Irish this year. And we're early 3rd quarter. Tyree on a good placement of kickoff with a great blocking to give him space to run. Good special teams by the Irish there. Gets Tyree shy of the 40-yard line. Let's talk about the O-line, Tony, for the Fighting Irish.
Yes, and 2 new members, Josh Logg and Dylan Gibbons on the right side. Pass this game off very well. Give Ian Book good protection. And then their bread and butter play. The zone run to the left. Liam Eichenberg. Banks coming off the ball. Right tackle, Rob Hainsey, pass protection, opening up the lane. They have done a solid job. We've seen this all year from this offensive line, and of course, finishing down the stretch.
Book of the Irish take over at the 37. Kyron Williams tries to bounce it outside. He'll get to the 41-yard line. They'll give him 4 there. That was the foundation of this Notre Dame team as we came into the season, and they were playing all the way through the Clemson game, and then you had to deal with some injuries, and so they've had to shuffle a little bit.
And we saw the missed snap in this last series. Those are things that are going to have to get ironed out. The 2 young guys, or not young guys, but new guys, are going to have to come in and hold their own.
The 41 Book with a fake out of the pocket. McKinley blocking downfield for him, and Book will scramble to get the first down right around midfield. Catherine.
Mike, former Irish captain and current 49ers right tackle Mike McGlinchey told me that he FaceTimes regularly with the Irish O-line. He said some of the best times were my last 2 years at Notre Dame when those guys were there. McGlinchey was a first-round NFL draft pick in 2018, and he knows this group well. He told me the sky is the limit for these guys. Extremely talented. They do things the right way, and they're all on the same page. Mike?
And we've seen that being around these guys over the last 4 or 5 years. There's pressure from Syracuse, picked up by that line. Book shot down the middle, intercepted. So Ian Book intercepted for the 2nd time this year. A rare turnover. Jahad Carter has it for the Orange, and they take over at the 31-yard line. So Ian Book's string stops at 266 consecutive attempts without an interception.
And this was so good by Tony White's defense. It looks like an all-out blitz, and Ian Book thinks it is. You're going to see pressure coming here. He thinks it's straight man, but you're going to have a free safety come back. Jahad Carter come back and get in the picture. Ian Book didn't anticipate that, thought he had a free shot on the post. That was well-disguised blitz and well done by that young secondary.
For Carter, his 2nd pick, freshman, another freshman, out of Richmond, Virginia. And for the Orange, it's 24 interceptions on the season. Culpepper, he lost the football, and it's recovered by Notre Dame. So for the 2nd time in the first 5:05 of this 3rd quarter, we've had turnovers on back-to-back plays. We also have a flag very late in the secondary. This was after the fumble and the recovery by the Irish and by Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah again. And Mr. Culpepper keeps taking laps.
Really on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense after the play was over. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 20, number 20, Notre Dame. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Sylveon Sean Crawford, Ade Ogundeji.
And I'm going to be the first to say it, Ade Tacumbo for his mom. Ogundeji hustling, staying after it on the zone read option, just laying out. Again, this is what Clark Lee preaches. We've got to play all out. We've got to try to strip the balls, turnovers, big play.
And there's after the play down the field, Sean Crawford grabbing and pulling and taking Luke Benson for a ride to the ground is what is called. So the Irish get the ball back after the Syracuse turnover, and they'll take over at the 47-yard line. And Kyron Williams runs to the left and bounces it outside. Nice run by Williams to the 35-yard line. Gain of 20 and a first down for Notre Dame.
This is that zone, outside zone, blocking to the left, and you're going to get good blocking, but then Kyron Williams, that move right there to freeze the defender, get the extra yardage, well blocked, and then a great run.
Williams, 43 yards shy of 1,000 on the season. He'll get 3 more there as they kind of build with this offensive line here in what has been a sloppy third quarter. Ray gets back. Liam Eichenberg, the offensive lineman. Catherine was talking about Mike McGlinchey. We really enjoyed talking to Liam, senior, playing his last game, grad student at a St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland. He said he now understands why McGlinchey and all those guys, Quentin Nelson, who were the veterans when he came here, he now understands why they treated him the way he treated him. Because he now is that guy, the tone setter. Laying the framework for the offensive line and the young players to follow. Inside run for Tyree, only 2 yards. Solid tackle there. Catherine?
Yeah, Mike. Well, McGlinchey also told me that these guys remind him of what they started to do in 2017. You were talking about that O-line tradition. He said current NFLers, Quentin Nelson, Alex Barr, Sam Mustipher, that's the tradition they've started. Harry Hiestand now at the Chicago Bears, a big part of influencing that O-line tradition. And McGlinchey just said he's proud to see that it continues and that these guys have become leaders.
Yeah, Hiestand was the offensive line coach. And he's got Mustipher and Barnes there in Chicago. The 3 of us were there.
Yes.
Was that just Sunday? Was that just 6 days ago? We watched them start for the Bears against the Packers at Lambeau. 3rd and 5. Orange rush 4. Tyree in the backfield, who's going to get tagged anyway. Another good play from Jahad Carter, the safety, and this young Syracuse back end continues.
You just love to see this, Mike. They are playing hard, and yes, they're making some mistakes, but just really being physical, flying to the football, making things happen. You hear that energy on the sideline.
And you hear from their coordinator, Tony White. 24 turnovers forced by the Syracuse defense, leading the nation. So the Irish will go here on 4th and 5. 4 in the pattern for Book, who escapes and gets it on the ground.
And that is such classic Ian Book. Good zone coverage again. Nobody open, but when you only rush 4 guys, there's a lane. And Ian Book, we talked to him about this. How do you know when to go through your reads, when to sit in there, when you have to make it? And this was a time where he knew we've got to make this fourth down play. Took off and run.
It seemed like he was forcing the runs and afraid to throw it in tight spots, and now he just has a complete command of when he wants to do what he needs to do. Run by Williams, who's twisted around as he gains 7 on that. The Irish get it in the red zone halfway through this second half. Yeah, an injured player.
For an injured player.
For the Orange. Devon Darton, another freshman, a redshirt freshman, shaken up. Athletic training staff out looking at his left leg, so we'll step out.
Tomorrow, 1 Eastern on NBC.
Let's go check the board from top 10, what's going on. Notre Dame on top here. Clemson plays tonight. Bama playing LSU. Ohio State beats Sparty by 40. A&M rallied to beat Auburn by 11. Gators a minute before halftime up 3. Cincinnati off. Iowa State win there, and they will cinch up that Big 12 championship game slot.
Iowa State's a sneaky team, Mike.
Pretty good. He's a terrific coach, and they've done a nice job rebuilding the program there in Ames. We saw the play before, and another Syracuse player appears to be down here on that last play. Kevon Darton was injured. Fortunately, Darton was able to walk off under his own power, and they look at his left leg. Now it's Rob Hanna, the Rover. Hanna, who became a starter this year when Andre Cisco was injured in pregame warmups. It was that kind of season for the Orange. They lost Cisco and Trill Williams, two of their best defensive backs, out for the season. So you mentioned Iowa State there. You get into all this conversation now about who's going to be in position for the playoffs, and you spend hours and create shows to talk about what if this team wins and what if that team wins. As you watch the end of the season, Notre Dame does know you go in the ACC championship game to play either Clemson or Miami, and you are in control of what happens for your football future.
You really are, and we get focused in on those top 4 positions because that's what the playoff is all about. Can we stay in there? And Clemson, Notre Dame, another rematch probably coming, but there are some good teams there that are just outside that top 4 that we don't hear about too much.
Yeah, Florida, Texas A&M. We saw Texas A&M rally against Auburn. Cincinnati. Fascinating to see BYU just come across the country to play Coastal Carolina this evening when Liberty had to pull out of the game against Coastal Carolina because of COVID issues. 3rd and 3, the pressure's on. Book scrambling. Book on the run. What else is new? Ian Book, as he has done so many times before, scrambles to the end zone for a touchdown.
Syracuse just has to be shaking their head because they had a good defense dialed up, and again we see the guys making plays. Kyron Williams is going to step up and get this protection, and then Ian Book's going to find the daylight. This is a good blitz. Everybody around him, everybody's covered, but the thing you can't account for is the quarterback making plays off schedule.
That's what we do, baby. That's what you do.
2 more rushing touchdowns for Book today. There's 16 on his career. Has 87 career touchdowns. That extra point by Jonathan Dorr just sneaks in the side door. Final game in Notre Dame Stadium for Ian Book, going out in style. Threw for 2. Now he's run for 2. And he's got number 2 up by 17.
You may have many reasons for waiting.
Someone woke up on the wrong side of the crunch this morning.
Notre Dame football is brought to you by Subway. It's footlong season. By Geico, you can save even more by bundling home and car insurance. And by Gillette, the best a man can get. Those guys don't look like they're going to grow into fearsome defensive end. Or this guy a run stopper in the middle on the right, Kurt Hinish.
Kurt Hinish.
Look at Sean Crawford.
Kurt Hinish.
Sean Crawford and Ian Book. Those 2 guys are roommates. The 6th-year DB who's been injured 3 times, and the 5th-year senior quarterback. Obviously, with COVID, so many folks are taking precautions, and athletes around college sports have sacrificed a lot of the hanging out college life. The line drive kick is fair caught by the Orange, and they'll take over at the 25. Been a rough day.
It really has, and when you're going to play the number 2 team in the country, you almost have to be perfect. That really started it, that roughing the passer, and then Rex Culpepper trying to make something happen, fumbles the ball. This led to another touchdown. This was right before the half, led to a touchdown in the 2-minute drill. Then you're moving the football and you fumble it. Now, we have to say that these aren't all just miscues. A lot of this is defense hustling, getting after the ball from Notre Dame.
Orange take over at the 25, and no gain here for Sean Tucker.
Not so fast.
Yeah, Sean Tucker.
Not so fast.
It's a pile here. Oh, and wait, Chris Elmore's joining the pile. Big number 5's joining the pile. It's going to be close to a first down.
That's 290 pounds, a push in behind.
Right, and Elmore may have gotten his own guy, Dakota Davis, the guard. So 5, Elmore, running back, moved to guard. The pile's moving, and he wants to be part of this party.
There he comes. So you said no gain. Now it's 2nd and 1.
Terry's guys would have blown the whistle in time.
So. In the NFL, that would have been forward progress stop.
And it's a first down here now for Tucker. We kind of laugh a little bit with Elmore, but he totally sacrificed. Here's a guy who was a fullback. He actually played defensive line, nose tackle last year. But he came in, and they needed help in the offensive line to fortify the numbers, so he sacrificed and played guard. And now, with a little more health up front, he's back in his natural position, fullback.
And really an unbelievable sacrifice because you know the story. Hey, if we're down to 7 offensive linemen, if we get less than that, we may not be able to play with these COVID restrictions. And he said, I'll do it.
Corner blitz coming. That pass is intercepted. Culpepper never saw Dalen Hayes dropping in coverage on senior day. Hayes trying to pick up blocks. He'll get to the sideline of the 34, and the Notre Dame sideline erupts as the defensive end, the rush end, the captain comes up with a pick.
Rex Culpepper is trying to go to Taj Harris again on that out, but Dalen Hayes is going to drop. Usually he's a rusher, he's dropping, and Culpepper doesn't see him, throws it right to him. Again, just one of those defenses dialed up by Clark Lee that has created problems.
You're not waiting for the DN to be back there. Maybe he's done that often.
He has. He's dropped and made some big plays as a dropper.
So 4th turnover for the Orange. And Book and the Irish back in there trying to extend that 17-point lead after the Hayes interception. 4-yard run to the left for Kyron Williams. So Ian Book add to the numbers. You know, when you are a winning quarterback in Notre Dame, they try to put you into some big company. Well, he's earned it. Not 1, but perhaps 2 undefeated regular seasons. Chance to beat #1 Clemson here a month ago. And where he'll end up on the pass yardage list, pass touchdowns, the rush yards by a quarterback 2nd. But he will be #1 in starts by a quarterback that ended a victory if his team can close out the final third of this one. Williams again to the left. Melifonwu, the corner, tried to pull it out. He was down, lost of a yard. Catherine.
Well, Ian Book's father, Rick, told me that if his son is to achieve that historic 30-win accomplishment at Notre Dame, he called it surreal. He said, knowing the history here, it's incredible. I grew up a 49ers fan. My dad was a season ticket holder. I'm a humongous Joe Montana fan. To know that my son would be talked about in the same way that guys like Joe Theismann, Brady Quinn, and other Notre Dame great quarterbacks are, it's a proud moment for us. And his dad, his mom, Kim, and brother Nolan all cheering him on today, Mike.
Yeah, they've been here, like you said at the beginning, Catherine, every game. He circles and cannot get it out to Williams. Incomplete here, so Syracuse defense comes up with a 3rd and 9 stop, and let's see a long field goal attempt coming from Jonathan Dorr. We talked to Brady Quinn this week about Ian Book. So impressed with how Ian has handled the difficult spotlight of being a Notre Dame quarterback.
It is a tough position, and he has done it well. And all of these guys, all these quarterbacks talk. And we asked Ian Book if he felt like he was in the fraternity yet. And he said, yeah, when I got text from Joe Theismann, I feel like I'm in the fraternity.
50-yarder for Jonathan Dorr. He's made 2 50-plus in his career. This will be his longest of the season. Michael Vincent snaps it. Jay Bramlett holds it, and it misses wide to the right. So the Orange defense able to hold. Still a 17-point game with 3:44 to go here in the third. Above the Rest is brought to you by Jersey Mike's Subs, although no points off of that drive. Ian Book has done plenty for this Notre Dame offense today.
And Syracuse coach Dino Babers, when we talked to him, he talked about Heisman traits. And you don't hear Ian Book's name mentioned in the Heisman talk, but he does so many things to win games. He's accurate with the football, he's poised, and then he can make the off-schedule plays. Not only the great throws, but when things break down, making things happen. This is a 5-man blitz and weaving through traffic, just unbelievable.
Syracuse back on the field, and a loss of a couple of yards on that run. It's been a very big second half for Drew White as he made the stop on Tucker. It's an interesting conversation with Book. Usually if you lead Notre Dame as the quarterback to an undefeated regular season at a #1 or #2 ranking, you'd be definitely in the Heisman conversation. And he just had a 266 consecutive pass without a pick streak broken. Incomplete as Culpepper trying to get it to the wide side towards Tucker. But when you step back, and the national attention goes to, obviously, the players who come up with the big stats and the big numbers like Trevor Lawrence, like Justin Fields. It's worth consideration as a Heisman voter. I think Ian Book's going to end up on my ballot when all is said and done. I don't know if he's going to be number one, but I think he's going to end up on my ballot.
He should be on the ballot, and he's not playing in a spread offense where you're throwing 50 passes a game, but he is working the game. He's making the big plays when you need them, and he is one of the big reasons that Notre Dame's undefeated.
Notre Dame defense all over that. Tucker tried to take the run. He gains 3 yards, and it'll be 4th down. You do get lost in the stats, and I think you have an advantage when you see him play so often, but you know how many plays he keeps alive and how many 3rd down conversions. And that's Ron Powlus, who does so much as the associate athletic director. Almost everything that happens in this football program, Ron has his hands on, is a part of, and that's one of the 29 win guys who will be passed by Book if he is able to close out the next 17 minutes of this one.
And, you know, Ian Book told us, too, that it's not just the 30 wins, but not losing a game in this stadium. He really wanted to make that happen, and he's played like it today.
Put away by Nolan Cooney. As Salerno from the 20 made a man miss and has a return of 12, which equals his long return of the season, and the long Notre Dame punt return of the season. We'll take over at the 32-yard line. So this year, Ian Book has a new offensive coordinator, but not somebody he's not familiar with, in Tommy Rees, who has been his quarterback coach for his time here. And again, it's very close in age, too, because Tommy Rees took over as offensive coordinator at age 28 when he replaced Chip Long this year.
And they both told us that this year kind of added to that as well. Ian Book hasn't been like a normal college student because of the COVID, so he's able to spend more time with Tommy Rees, just film study and game planning.
32, Book throwing for McKinley, incomplete. Melifonwu challenging him as they had their get-together earlier. We have 2 flags back right around the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 31, defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
And Jeff Canton-Arku coming in on the pressure.
Yeah. And he does just come late here. Overload blitz, 2 steps, 2.5 steps, and they're going to call that every time. Melifonwu, though, Mike, is a really, really good player. Got beat for a touchdown on a great catch by Javon McKinley. They haven't thrown a lot of balls at him. There's a reason why. He's a tremendous player.
His brother Obi, 4 years in the NFL with the Raiders and then the Patriots. South Grafton, Mass. 1st and 10, Williams running to the edge, and with the seam, Williams turns it upfield to the 30-yard line. And that'll get Kyron Williams close to 1,000 yards on the season. He's at 991.
This is the right side of the offensive line now, just zone blocking. Kyron Williams is going to look for the hole, see where it is. Good double team by the 2 tight ends. Brock Williams and Tommy Tremble, and then just a good run.
Nobody anticipated Kyron Williams was going to be a guy who might get 6 100-yard season games this season. He's 10 yards away, and make that about 6 yards away after that run. Wow, what a great shot that is. About 5:15 here.
Yes.
In South Bend as the sun gets set to set.
But you were talking about Kyron Williams, and Tommy Rees told us he has really become the heartbeat of this offensive team. He said that they thrive on his energy.
Book with a shot towards McKinley for 3. He's got another one. Notre Dame touchdown. Javon McKinley's 3rd of the game.
Again, Syracuse dialing up blitzes, and we're going to see Aaron Banks here pick that up. And then just a beautiful ball right on target. Javon McKinley lays out. Just you can't do it any better than that. Protected, thrown well, great concentration, great catch, passing game coming on. This is what Notre Dame's going to need as they move forward.
Javon McKinley was the leading receiver in terms of receptions and yards for the Irish this season, but he didn't have any touchdowns. And he has 3 here in really the last 15 minutes and 23 seconds of action. But the touchdown with 1.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter, then with 6 seconds. And that's one here late in the third to take it to 38-14 Notre Dame. Here's Catherine.
Well, former Irish standout and Steelers rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool has really enjoyed spending his Saturdays watching his alma mater's success. He told me earlier this season he really likes the way Ben Skoranek and McKinley have shown that Notre Dame has that deep ball threat and loves the way the young players on the team have stepped up this season. Claypool stays in touch with these guys. He's cheering them on as he continues, Mike, that impressive NFL rookie season in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 10 touchdowns in his first 11 games, 8 receiving, 2 rushing for Chase, who we saw Wednesday here on NBC, and the Steelers win over the Ravens. The Steelers taking on the Washington football team on Monday as they try to keep their perfect season. It's good to be Chase Claypool. Your NFL team is 11-0, and your alma mater is about to be 10-0. Touchback, take over the 25. That's a pretty good final day in Notre Dame Stadium for Javon McKinley.
Mike, I go back to the Duke game, the first game of the year, and we're asking who is going to step up and replace these receivers that they lost, and Javon McKinley has been one of those guys. This is what he's always done well, go up and catch that 50-50 ball, but he is getting deep, and that has been something to see and just added that extra element to this Notre Dame offense.
Another 100-yard game for him. That's 4 on the year at 135, a career high against North Carolina, and had the terrific key catches against Clemson as well. So 38-14, and the Orange back with it, and Tucker will lose 3 as he tried to bounce to the outside, and Jeremiah Wusu-Koromoa maybe some of his final snaps in this stadium. As you would imagine, the fourth quarter we'll see the Irish dip into their depth.
And I want to go back to Clark Lee a little bit, Mike. As I said, he talked about last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. That's what he emphasizes. This guy coaches this defense so well. I've been super impressed with him.
23, this pass is complete to Quealy. Nice cut inside, and Anthony Quealy will be right at the first down mark at the 35-yard line. Yeah, I remember you were looking at some Notre Dame tape at the start of the summer before we were set to embark on this, and your reaction, who coaches this defense?
Yes, they play.
Lakeem Johnson on the edge, stopped out there by Lewis, the freshman.
They play so well. They play hard. They're disciplined. They're never out of position. And I'm going to go on record, if there are any athletic directors out there right now looking for head coaches, Clark Lee, not only is he a fantastic X and O coach, but when you talk to these Notre Dame players about how he coaches them and the type of man he is, they all love playing for him.
Notre Dame fans love hearing you say that, right? End of 3, Irish 38, Orange 14. Back for the fourth quarter, Notre Dame Stadium, after these messages from your local station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC.
Hi, I'm Jason Bateman, and I'm hosting SNL with...
Wake up and watch WYFF News 4 today.
Fourth quarter from South Bend. Our area coverage is brought to you by Geico. You look at Notre Dame Stadium, and just on the outside, the Word of Life Bureau on the side of the Hesburgh Library. Everybody comes and goes, where's Touchdown Jesus? I can't see it from the field. But once the stands were extended, you've got to go up in the bowl to get a look over the top of the stadium. But then when you come out or go out the entrance where the teams exit and enter the stadium, you see everybody taking their pictures over there. What's up, Tony, over there? Start the season for an in-person look at it.
Very appreciative of that too. This campus, Mike, is just unbelievable, as you know, and just gosh, a lot of great scenes here.
Founded in 1842, Syracuse founded in 1870. University celebrating its 150th anniversary this year.
Mike, you know, we were talking at the end of the quarter about Clark Lee, and I know owners in the NFL, athletic directors, are always looking for X's and O's and who can bring that, but there is so much more to head coaching than just X's and O's.
Culpepper pass is incomplete. It is short for Quealy. It'll be 4th and 8.
And when we talk to these Notre Dame players week after week, and they talk about Coach Lee in the meetings, they talk about him just around and being a father figure to them, and the reverence they talk about, that's the kind of guy I'm looking for to lead my program, whether I'm in the NFL or a college team.
We mentioned his alma mater, Vanderbilt, as a coaching opening, so his name has come up in conversation. He was finalist for the Boston College job last year, so he's been through it. And as with those coordinators on successful teams, it's often a part of the conversation that they deal with this time of year. Matt Salerno, he gets hit and hit hard and hit with a penalty. Kenzie Pierre, the backup running back, with the illegal contact. Good to see Salerno coming back and seems to be okay. They'll take a look at him. Bobbled it, got it, and Pierre had the helmet down.
After the ball was caught by the receiver, personal foul, targeting, kicking team. Play is under further review.
Yeah, so they'll look at that, and Salerno's got his head down, going for the ball. Pierre dips the ground. So they'll review that for targeting, almost certainly to keep it as such, and we'll be right back. That was targeting, so Pierre is out for the rest of the game, and that does not mean you have to go to the locker room. That used to be the case, but he is leaving. You see it here, Tony.
Yeah, he gets his head down, and he's trying to make a play, and you just can't lead with the top of the helmet like that. You got to get the shoulder in first.
We hope Salerno's okay. They're looking at him in the tent. Pierre is choosing to head back to the locker room. There's a rule change this year that you didn't have to leave the field if called for targeting. 3-yard run here on first down for the Irish by Kyron Williams. And Pierre, by the way, if he does play for Syracuse next year, would miss the first half of the Orange opener, which is scheduled to be at Ohio in Athens on September 4. I wonder if college football will see more flexibility in scheduling going forward. I think if we've proven one thing this year, you don't need to schedule games 17 years out. This pass is incomplete. It'll bring up third down, I should say, for the Irish.
And Mike, I know Coach Kelly talked about dominating. He wanted to see a great performance in that third quarter, but now I'd have to start thinking about getting some of my regulars out. Not only is it senior day and get some of those seniors in, but boy, you don't want to get somebody hurt here at the end when you're under control of a game.
You don't want to end up with a play like you just saw, where there's a targeting that you're just trying to make a tackle. Your head dips a little bit. This pass for Skoranek is caught for the first down in front of Melifonwu at the 40-yard line. Ben Skoranek, the grad transfer from Northwestern, who posted on social media as headed to senior day. He's just living a dream. He's a guy who grew up in Fort Wayne, wanted to play at Notre Dame, went to Northwestern, had a terrific career for Pat Fitzgerald's bunch with 110 catches in his career. But you've heard the story often. This year, Skoranek went out to California to work with Ian Book, just to throw with his quarterback, because he knew he only had one shot at it, and they've really developed a terrific, on the same page, chemistry. Well, pass incomplete, as he was trying to get over to Braden Lindsey, well covered by Jihad Carter on the corner.
You know, Mike, this drive is about more than just this game. Coach Kelly is trying to get some rhythm and some flow with those receivers. He talked about getting Braden Lindsey some time with this first group, and this is looking forward 2 or 3 games down the road here.
try to reintegrate those players back into the lineup. Our out-of-town scores brought to you by Salesforce. And there is Williams with the good move. The power to get over 1,000 yards on the season.
Ife Melifonwu is a good tackler, and he got nothing but air. This looked like, I think, of Barry Sanders making people whiff like this. That is a nice move.
Sebo Flemister now checks into the Notre Dame lineup, and he'll run for about 4 yards. You talk about this offensive line, all the players who make the plays, the running backs benefit from, and Liam Eichenberg, one of that group, who's out there wrapping up probably his career on this drive.
Yeah, and he talked about what he learned from Mike McGlinchey and Quentin Nelson and those guys. When I asked him, what was the biggest thing they passed down? And he said, they told us as offensive linemen, we do everything together.
Front door open. Cutting back to the inside, Flemister. He'll be 4 shy of a first down. Be 3rd down coming up.
And what he meant by that is whether we're watching film, it's everybody. If we have our pizza night on Thursday night, it's everybody. It's the freshmen, it's the red shirts, it's all of us. It's not just the starters, it's the whole offensive line, and that's how you pass that tradition down.
You saw that fist bump between Eichenberg and Banks, and that started back with that group and has continued on. Notre Dame offensive lineman passing that down, just that togetherness snap by snap. Or pizza night by pizza night, although social distancing, not being able to hang out, has cut into pizza night for the guys this year. Avery Davis on the edge. He gets pulled down by Josh Black, playing his 48th game as senior for Syracuse.
And Josh Black, watching him play, he jumps out at you on film too, and he's one of those seniors on Syracuse's side that is passing down that tradition to this defense. He told us he loves these freshmen in the back 7. He thinks they're going to be great, and he's tried to do his part to let them know what winning defensive football is all about.
It's one of those players who'd love to be around for a little bit more of that. Bramlett will kick it here with 10-12 to go in regulation. Let it go, and the Irish down it at the 1. Isaiah Pryor down there to take care of it and leave Syracuse with a long field. 9:58 to go in this one. Struggle early for Notre Dame, but they have started hitting on all 3 phases. 24-point lead.
Be a sub above.
Broncos have the quarterback back, and the Chiefs have the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs Broncos Sunday Night Football will start you with Football Night in America at 7 Eastern time tomorrow here on NBC. Kansas City a game behind the Steelers in the AFC as we get down to the final 5 for most teams in the NFL. Orange backed up from the 2, and the run by Sean Tucker will take it out to the 7-yard line.
Sean Tucker.
It's year 5 for Dino Babers at Syracuse. There's Matt Salerno, by the way. That's a great sign to see him back out of the tent and with his helmet, too.
Yes.
After that hit that he took on that punt a moment ago. So Dino Babers and the Orange are going to fall to 1-10. It'll be Syracuse's worst season since 2005. As they will quickly turn the page towards next year. A nice run here by Tucker. And he'll bounce to the outside to the 25-yard line. So Tucker's going to have a 100-yard rushing day against this Notre Dame defense. First one the Irish have given up all year. So Babers has found players. He's found players for the future. They've got a good recruiting class coming in. They feel like they've upgraded there. But they're going to have to get the performance on the field. What are the things as you look ahead that Syracuse has to build on for next season?
Well, what they have is a young, active defense, and you can really see that that group is going to come on. They play very well on special teams. They've got to get more consistent on offense. They've got some weaponry. Got to develop a quarterback.
Bo Bauer back there in the backfield. He's trying to take Tucker down under 100 yards. But he was at 116. Dalen Hayes still out there as well. Most of the starters still there for the Irish. There's the youth on this Syracuse team on the 2 deep. You go through 15 of those 25 players who are underclassmen on the 2 deep are freshmen. You've said it a lot. You see all those guys on defense. But you mentioned the quarterback position. Jacoby and Morgan started a couple of games, got injured. He's out. That's why Culpepper is back in the starting role.
And that's going to be a key for them. If they can develop Morgan and he comes on and he's the quarterback they think he can be, this team can be very good.
Taj Harris throwing out of bounds. Got one here for you, Tony. The quarterback who Syracuse is signing, who's committed to Syracuse to sign in this next class, is a guy by the name of Justin Lamson. Of note, same high school as Ian Book.
If he got some of those genes from that high school, I want to see him play.
Out of the Sacramento area in California, and a player who, like a lot of the kids in California, didn't have a chance to play their high school senior year. Syracuse also has Dylan Markowitz out of Texas on the roster as well. Culpepper here, throws to Elmore, makes the catch, and Elmore keeps going. He and Hayes, Chris, with a collision on the sideline. As this is to continue to allow chatting and conversation here and get everybody out of there.
We got to meet him via Zoom, and he is something else. Fullback, lead blocker. This is what he does. Pancake blocks. Here's on the touchdown run, the lead block. Now, not only that, he's the #1 celebrator on the team. He's going to meet every guy who scores down in the end zone, and he just brings an energy and an enthusiasm that you love to see. But what I like about him, he was ready to sacrifice. Mike, when they needed offensive linemen, they come to him the first day of practice. Will you go from fullback to guard? That's a tough switch. And he said, you know what, Coach, I will do it.
See his physicality there. Notre Dame had a couple of players in that sideline collision who took the worst of it. And they're over there on the sideline. Dalen Hayes got up. We'll check on the other player in just a moment. Bo Bauer.
I'm a Verizon engineer.
Chiefs on NBC.
Dalen Hayes limping around for the Irish, and Bo Bauer in the medical tent as they were over on the sideline messing with Chris Elmore here and took the worst of it.
Yeah, Chris Elmore keeps his feet, just hustling to the ball.
And Bauer is the one who was down the longest and limped to the tent. So Nolan Cooney will kick again. And it is fair caught by the Irish as they brought Lawrence Keys back in there. Salerno doesn't go out for the punt catch. 7-17 going. You were talking about this with Syracuse being a huge underdog in this game and the Irish being a big favorite and a slow start. That do you want to get the starters out of the game at some point, not just to get the other guys to play, but you're looking down the road in 2 weeks, because for Notre Dame, you have at least 2, they hope 3 big games to play still to come.
Yeah, we talked to Brian Kelly about this yesterday too. What point do you go that way, Coach? And he said, hey, I've got to manage this whole season. And you're right, we are trying to win the ACC championship game, and I am going to have to think about that. So I'm curious how he's going to play the rest of this fourth quarter.
And you've been in this situation, right? You and your Colts teams where do I need to bring up the conversation about do you go for an undefeated season or not? I mean, it's a hard one.
You really want to. The players want to do it, but then you have to think, how am I going to face my team if Peyton Manning gets hurt in week 17 in a meaningless game? That's not very smart on my part. So it's something that definitely goes through your mind.
So the Irish will play in the ACC championship game against either Clemson or Miami, and they will not play next week. That game against Wake Forest was wiped away. The ACC football group wanted to preserve the integrity of the championship game and evaluate everyone on a 9-game schedule. So Clemson has today left. And if Clemson loses and Miami beats Duke, they'll have to play North Carolina next week to see if they would go. That would be the only way the Hurricanes would get it. Tyree lost in the first, but this needs a lot on the second. Chris Tyree off to the races. 2 men chasing, none catching. Tyree goes the distance. A 94-yard touchdown. freshman who's had a sensational season. Comes up with his 3rd touchdown. Not a Notre Dame record for longest touchdown rushing, but a huge one there. Puts the Irish up by 30.
And he has great speed. You just knew when that one broke, they were not catching him.
Doors extra point makes it 45-14 with 6:25 to go.
Just an inside zone play to the right. You're going to get some good blocking here. But what you're going to see downfield is Brock Wright with this block that really makes it. And right there, it is all over. Chris Tyree has sprinter speed.
So it'll go down as the 3rd longest rushing touchdown in Notre Dame history, and all 3 have happened in the last 6 years. The Wake Forest game here in 2015, Josh Adams had a 98-yarder, and Dexter Williams in Blacksburg had a 97-yarder back 2 seasons ago. And now add this one, 3rd on the list, 94 yards for Chris Tyree. Mike, the 6th, Tony, 6th 90-plus yard rushing touchdown in the long storied history of Irish football.
Now I want to go back to Coach Kelly's dilemma. We talked about when you take your starters out, that type of thing. 2-week layoff, so that's going through his mind too. We're not going to play next week. I need to get these guys to keep them sharp, but that's the dilemma. How long do you keep them in?
45-14. Now Chris Elmore is going to catch that kickoff, and a fair catch signal was made.
And it wasn't Chris who fair caught it. He's thinking of going with it.
First down.
Correct.
He wanted to return that. He was thinking 80-yard touchdown.
He has a kickoff return in his career, 3 of them, as a matter of fact, once against Wake Forest. So they're the Irish with the points. They have been cranking them out, 31 against North Carolina, but 45 or more in these other games. Obviously, Clemson 2 overtimes to get to 47.
Well, this is what Coach Kelly wanted to see, and you kind of could sense a little bit of disappointment in that 3rd quarter. We heard his speech at halftime. We want to dominate.
Did not complete the catch, therefore the ball will be placed in the 19-yard line.
Didn't quite get that domination in the 3rd quarter, but you're starting to see it here, and I know this is what Brian wanted to see.
Yeah, with the fair catch signal made, the other guy catching it is the reason the ball stops at the 19-yard line. It's at the spot of the catch. You don't get that automatic advance out to the 25, so that's why it's at the 19. Dylan Markowitz is the quarterback for Syracuse, his 3rd appearance. He was the 4th leading passer last year, his senior year in the state of Texas, and he'll come in to finish here for Rex Culpepper.
It'll be interesting to see what Markowitz does. As you say, he threw the ball well in high school. They like him, and this will be good for him to get a chance these last 5.5 minutes here.
Jacobian Morgan, we mentioned, is the true number 2. So essentially Markowitz, the 4th quarterback on this roster. And here is Cooper Lutz. Lutz has a chance to get a touchdown at Notre Dame Stadium. Cooper Lutz will go the distance for the touchdown. An 80-yarder that he can remember forever.
He's another guy with great speed. They told us he's a converted wide receiver. Once he got in the open spaces, they couldn't catch him. And again, a little miscue here, letting this get out.
Notre Dame's got their backup defenders in. And Lutz takes it the distance. As I was driving into the stadium, I saw a bunch of people wearing orange and blue, and one of them had a number 24 shirt on. So I said, are you related to Cooper Lutz? And it was the family, and it was the dad, too. Extra point is good because Cooper, as you mentioned, is a converted wide receiver to running back, and really would have been like 6th on the, quote, depth chart, unquote, because the Orange have put up season best numbers here on the ground. And I said, have you gotten used to watching Cooper in the back? They said he was a really good running back in high school. So he had done both, moved into wide receiver, comes back here.
How great is that for them to get to see their son score and make a house call in Notre Dame Stadium?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of them and of him. And we've done these games, and this is the 30th year of Notre Dame football on NBC, and you see all these teams come in and they do take pictures and touchdown Jesus. This is 91 years of college football history. So for them, you know, it doesn't feel good right now necessarily, but in 10, 15 years, to talk forever, 80-yard touchdown. Let me show you.
Yes. Yeah, no, and
good for him.
Talked to a lot of the Syracuse players. Chris Elmore told us he had never been to South Bend and his family was going to be here. We saw the Culpeppers in the stands, and this will be something to remember. They won't like the final score necessarily, but I tell you what, this team has fought. They have not given up.
It reminds me, Tony, of watching Syracuse play Clemson earlier this year. They stayed in that game a lot longer than you would have thought they did. They are ending with two pretty decent efforts against NC State. They came down to the last play. Many have shown the fourth down spike by Culpepper at the end of the game and couldn't keep track of the downs. But I mean, look, that happened to Brady. It happens to the best of them in a big moment. So 45-21, the lead is now 24 with 5.5 left. And that will be a touchback.
And you were talking about where does Coach Babers go? How does he build on this? Well, those, you know, the Clemson game, North Carolina State, where you've got a chance to win it on the last play of the game, and coming in here and playing Notre Dame like this, he's going to be able to build on it.
And I will point this out, and Dino was most proud of this when we talked to him. The Syracuse team has not had a positive COVID test all during the season. Go back to June was the last time. You can count on one hand the number of COVID tests they had that were positives back then. And we've seen other teams around the country kind of check out. And you understand, you got nothing to play for. A lot of players, as we've talked about, have sacrificed. And Dino was proudest that his team has stayed together, and not just in terms of on the field, but also their discipline away from it.
And with so many young guys, too, that's even more amazing. But the senior class has done a great job of leading and helping those guys to hang in there.
Book is still in. He hands to Flemister here. I wonder if Brian Kelly's going to take Book out here in a play or so and let him come out. Flag back.
Holding.
By where that hole opened.
84, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Ian Book told us he doesn't want to leave the stadium after this game.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be his last game. And I wonder if he's gone to Coach Kelly and lobbied, hey, leave me in, Coach. Leave me in. I want to enjoy every moment of this last home game.
Here's the only thing I would say to that. It's great. Brendan Clark's had 18 snaps. Drew Pines had 19 snaps. You never know if you're going to need a guy for even 10 snaps during a game.
No question. That's the other side of it.
1st and 20 after the holding penalty on Kevin Bauman. And that run out to the 25-yard line. Notre Dame's going to take a timeout here. So Ian Book will leave the game here as Brian Kelly takes the timeout. Even though it's a small crowd, the crowd and the Irish teammates will take a moment here to
Their first and a half.
welcome Ian Book over to the sideline.
Please reset the game clock to 5:03. 5:03.
Either that or Drew Pines hanging there, ready to get in. Now Ian's coming out.
That's a great moment. It really is.
And the fans here who are here recognize it and add their thank yous to Ian Book. We saw his mom and dad there watching Jared Patterson, the center, over on his crutches. He deals with his foot injury. Every game coming from Northern California, wherever Ian played, to watch what will go down as one of the careers to remember for a Notre Dame quarterback. No one will leave here and say they had more wins as a starting quarterback than Ian Book.
And you know what's interesting about that? Sean Crawford is Ian Book's roommate. We asked Sean about that, and he said, what? I didn't even know that. Ian's never mentioned it. And you know how much it means to Ian Book, but to say, hey, when we talk ball, we're going to talk team and not personal, that tells me a lot.
Chris Tyree with the carry there. Ian Book is so well liked by his teammates. Speaking of which, Drew Pine comes in as the quarterback and not Brendan Clark. There's been a question of who is really the number 2. Nobody really knows for sure. But Ian could not have said more things about Pine, who he hosted on his recruiting visit, this freshman from New Canaan, Connecticut.
he talked about Drew Pine's love of the game, and he said he'll text me in the middle of the night, what's our read on this play? And he said he is so into ball, and he can't wait to watch him play.
31, 3rd and 4. It is another run, another bounce for Tyree for the first down. Chris is down shy of the 39-yard line. Ian Book told us that it can be late after a game, and I'll get a text, and it's from Drew Pine. And it's like a paragraph. But he'll, like, congratulate you for the win, great read on this play, and he'll thank him for being a mentor to him. And Ian was just going on and on. He just kind of stopped. He said, Drew Pine's just a good dude who really cares about it and wants it. So it sounded to me, if I'm reading between Ian's comments, that Ian Book sees a lot of Ian Book and Drew Pine.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're exactly right. And Ian talks about that's the way he was when he came in, wanting to soak up things, wanting to learn, and how Brandon Winbush and some of the older quarterbacks helped him. And I think he wants to do that same thing.
Pine is a true freshman, as we mentioned, enrolled early, a 4-star quarterback during his time in high school in New Canaan. And again, you are always one snap away. How many times have we said it? But I think of Garrett Gilbert, who we just saw start for the Cowboys. Colt McCoy brought Texas to the Rose Bowl and played for the championship, and he got hurt on the first drive, and Garrett Gilbert was in the biggest moment of Texas season. So it can happen at a moment's notice. As Tony said, the Irish will get a week off, and then they get themselves prepared for the ACC championship game in Charlotte. Cameron Ekanayaka had the last carry as some seniors get some action. He's got another one here. As some of the players have been a part of this roster for quite some time, get a chance to get a few carries.
And Sean Crawford told us that when we talked to him, that he couldn't wait. He was hoping to get some of those seniors who have sacrificed and worked so hard, hoping to get them in the games.
And this is one of them. Pine comes out because J.D. Carney, who came in for a couple of snaps against USF, comes into the game. Another guy who the players love and has always been around for so many of the things that are important to the rest of the team, the guys who do some of that dirty work, if you will. Ekanayaka with another carry there. What Ian Book told us about J.D., who gets in there for a snap. He said, I don't know if I've ever met anybody more comfortable in their skin. And he's a terrific actor. Matter of fact, he played a role in The Great Gatsby, a theatrical performance here in town. And the entire team went to go, the quarterback room last year went to go watch him. And he said, look, you may see this guy in the movies someday. So.
And Mike, another guy who's in there now, Colin Grunhard, center 61, another great guy that everybody's rooting for. And his dad, Tim Grunhard, played for us in Kansas City, and he's a great young man too.
He's getting an opportunity here in these closing seconds because of the injuries at center. So let's write the last line of the Ian Book home career here at Notre Dame with the win. He will pass Brady Quinn, who does a terrific job on Fox's college football coverage. Ron Polish, who, as mentioned, is here with the Irish program. And Tom Clements, terrific star of the 70s. Most wins by a starting quarterback. Again, not an official stat, not something, but it means so much to head coaches and to programs. And Brian Kelly, I thought, gave us the greatest perspective. Catherine asked him about the emotion of Ian Book and leaving, and Brian said he understands what Ian Book goes through, because maybe the only person who can understand what it's like to be a Notre Dame head coach is a Notre Dame quarterback. You are constant conversation in the social media world and on the chat boards and all that good stuff. They run away from the punt. It'll be down to the 35 with 1:09 remaining in this one. 2 times in 3 years, Notre Dame will be perfect through the regular season. They lost to Clemson in the 2018 College Football Playoff National Semifinal. They'll get the Tigers in all likelihood, or Miami in the ACC Championship game in 2 weeks. As you look at this final last line of the regular season, what's your assessment?
I'm very impressed. As I watched the tape early on, I thought this was going to be a team with a great defense and a good offense. But this offense has gotten better and better. You do see the receivers coming on, making plays. You see a confidence in this group. And nobody's going to want to play Notre Dame in this next stretch.
I've heard you asked about this. I've heard you talk about this. Trevor Lawrence in for DJ Uiagalelei for Clemson. If he's healthy, he'll play in the championship game in 2 weeks in Charlotte. Do you think it makes a big difference in the game?
I do not. Trevor Lawrence is a great player, and he'll play well if he's there. But I think the difference will be those starters that Clemson gets back on defense, that defensive front that wasn't there in the first game.
James Skalski, the big name there on that defensive linebacking core. The run by Lutz takes him close to 100 yards. He's got 95, so there you see.
Oh, give him the ball one more time so he can have a 100-yard day in Notre Dame Stadium.
You see the opponents potentially in the championship game, what they have to do. Coaches don't think about that, do they?
Yes, sometimes they do. Players will remind you.
Well, here is Lutz. He's going to try to get, not going to get 3, not enough. And that should be the last play of this one. Syracuse will end the season 1-10. The Orange turn to 2021. As we get out of here, we want to thank everyone in our technical crew. Rob Hyland and Pierre Moose, our producer and director, lead our group. But because of COVID and everything else, things were so atypical. I've told folks it's been twice as hard to do the job, but it's 10 times more appreciated.
Yeah, and they do a fantastic job.
And Cooper Lutz got your 100 yards
there. You go. Good for you,
happy
Cooper.
Man, right?
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Syracuse ends up with 200-yard rushers. They'll end up with 413 yards of offense. But Notre Dame closes out a perfect regular season. They've won 24 straight at home, and Ian Book has set the mark for the most wins by a starting quarterback in Irish history with 30. In this 45-21 victory. So Notre Dame 10-0, that last game not played. Now they will await either the Tigers or the Canes in Charlotte, and then see what happens with the college football playoff and the rankings and all that fun stuff. And that'll be known in a couple of weeks. A lot of respect for Ian Book, and respect for Syracuse too, the way they played here today. One of their better efforts of what certainly is a disappointing season for the Orange. All right, Catherine, one last time with Brian Kelly.
Coach, congratulations. A perfect regular season. This senior class, 25-1 here at Notre Dame Stadium, and you talk so much about putting the exclamation point on performance, not outcome.
Yep.
Where does this game rank in your career?
Well, I think it's the culmination. I don't know that this one's going to be the singular one that we put out there, but I think it's the entire year. And if we look at the entire season, this was obviously special. Our guys and what they overcame this season to go undefeated, and over 4 years to go 25-1 is just an incredibly consistent performance week in and week out.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike?
Catherine, enjoyed the season as always. Tony, same. It was a lot of fun.
It was great fun, Mike. Thank you for everything.
You and Terry McCauley as well. Local news except on the West Coast. Saturday Night Live tonight. Enjoy all of that. We'll see you for Sunday Night Football tomorrow. Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, our entire team. So long, and thank you for watching Notre Dame football. Brought to you by Subway.
Monday and Tuesday,